And welcome, everybody. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
And how are you doing today, dear Crumb?
Oh, we're doing good. We're starting off the day nice. We're starting off the day fresh and clean and awesome and all this fun stuff. We're starting off the day with merchandise. We have
what is this?
Canuckleheads merch. We have our t-shirts. We have our blankets. We have our stickers. We also have it's a bit of an inside joke from a previous stream. There was an analogy made by a certain individual about bringing a fork and a horse to a baseball game. So we have made Major League Four-Course a thing.
Four-Course.
You can get all these wonderful things. My personal favorite here, I'm just going to open this up, is the Major League Four-Course wife beater that we have here. And we have a little remote control Easter egg on the back of it here. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, all of these are available. All of these are available. So people can pick that up at their leisure.
It is so new and shiny. I must have them all.
I know.
Do we have Four-Course stickers?
Yeah, we do. They're right here.
Just stickers. Oh my god, look at that. That's
all
cool.
Here.
Hey, we got t-shirts.
We do.
Look at
t-shirts,
that.
We got mugs, we got all sorts of fun stuff. So
that is absolutely fantastic.
Check it out. Be sure to check it out. Patreons get 10% off. If you join the Patreon, you get 10% off all the merchandise in the Teespring.
That's not bad.
So you do end up getting that as well. These prices are Canadian, by the way. So you can get, when you log in, the prices are US, Canadian, and UK. So you can get them all for your specific price. That's all awesome. Fun stuff, but also.
What else? What else we got?
So we have a few things. We have a few things on deck for today. So we're gonna be talking about. I did post the Cards Against Humanity room. It's an online game, so it's pretend you're Zizzy.
Okay.
You can go ahead. Anybody can join if they want to. The room is in the chat. I'm going to post it again. The password is 12345. So you can join up to the game there. We're going to play some Cards Against Humanity. I'll pop on the game on screen share when I'm the cards are, so we can look and laugh and all this other stuff. So Spectre has joined the game. See, we need more person. We need one more person to actually start the game. So, but yeah. So if anybody wants to join the Cards Against Humanity game, password's 12345. Come on, join the game. We're gonna have some Cards Against Humanity fun while we talk about Cards Against Humanity.
Awesome. Yeah, there was something that popped up recently with that particular little nugget, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a certain individual who I'm not going to to give any free advertisement for because she's a real sleaze.
Is she a wonderful little nugget?
Yeah, she's an interesting person. So
Awesome.
she has apparently gone on record talking about how horrible the Cards Against Humanity office is and how terrible they are towards women. Shocker, a game like Cards Against Humanity would be offensive. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about basically a decline of free speech and basically a little bit about what a little bit how it's not really acceptable to be sarcastic anymore. Like
What?
everyone has to be super.
No,
serious.
really?
But
Oh,
I'm
goodness gracious!
gonna loosen up my palate a little bit by reviewing Writer's Tears. I think this is pretty apt.
This
is an Irish whiskey. This is an Irish whiskey called Writer's Tears.
Yep.
It sounds delicious. I have literally never tried it before. I'm going to pop it on here, so let's see. Y'all can see it. Writer's Tears, Copper Pot Irish whiskey. Should you've logged into StreamYard?
Is it made by real writers?
If you want to be joining us here and talk, Spectre, you can join us in StreamYard. Absolutely.
And on top of that, I'm enjoying a little Works Clamato juice. It is quite yummy.
Awesome. So
makes me happy. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pop this open really quick.
All right. Awesome.
We have Breathe to join the game as well.
Cool.
Interesting smell. First impression for this. There's Spectre. We got Spectre here. We'll bring him in. So
seriously, that's awesome.
Here he is, the man of the hour. Spectre, how are you doing?
Well, hello, good sir.
I am just waking up.
Or just not going to sleep.
Exactly. I go to bed at like 9. I'm like, oh, I'll just get like 6 hours of sleep in. 3 hours later, why the hell am I up?
Well, welcome to the realm of the conscious.
Thank you.
Good day.
Going on like 6 months now. The YouTube channel is still up. Jen Malett has not taken it down.
Amazing.
I was so worried about that for like 2 seconds.
Oh, I was like, oh man, it could actually go down. And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, it's probably totally 100% going down, guys. Oh no.
So how heavy were the DMCAs and other things I might have thrown at you in that particular aspect?
I don't think I got any DMCAs.
Okay, that's good.
I think the most she did. Let me actually open up my email and look, and not put it up on screen because that would be a terrific thing to do, right? Am I right? Yes, I am. But I think she only. What ended up happening is my Twitter account, and I was still logged into a banned account on Firefox, and so I stupidly logged it. Went to open Twitter on Firefox without realizing it. I was like, oh. Crap. And then as soon as that happened, the Twitter account was banned because I was totally 100% evading. So
wonderful.
She gloated about that. And then she's like, oh, your channel's going to go down too. I'm like,
do you like your YouTube channel? It'd be a shame something happened to it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So
gotcha. Yeah, no, I've watched all your videos. Absolutely fantastic. And
what is wrong with you?
Well, I got nothing else to do. I've been healing from a really bad surgery.
Good enough excuse.
Listen, sir, I was healing from foot surgery, and I found your content to be absolutely hilarious, and that's the other part too.
I'm sorry. I'm actually waiting for back surgery. I have a consult on Tuesday, so hopefully take care of this back surgery tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but coming months.
Oh goodness gracious!
First sip of whiskey of this whiskey, Writer's Tears. It's a copper pot whiskey. It's apparently like brewed in the traditional Irish fashion. Very, very smooth. Not very abrasive at all. But yeah, it's kind of on the sweeter side. I'm liking this one. It's really nice. We'll see how it holds up as we go along.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. So, how's everyone holding up today? I know, kind of chatted a little bit about it. Tired and whatnot.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
on this end of
Sucking
things,
down the coffee.
well, listening to things, as I mentioned before we went live the air, the Kitchener Farmers Market reopened for the first time in 3 months. So going through that and looking at all the different social distancing and stuff like that was fairly interesting. Some people were living in plexiglass cubes. Other people were having barriers in front of their actual in front of their booth slash table. So the reason I found it to be interesting is that might how conventions might look like moving forward, but we don't quite know, especially with our event coming up in a very short 10 months. But however, it's very, very interesting because there are some large conventions still taking place in Canada, maybe far and few in between, but there's a few more left there. So how those conventions will look moving forward will be very interesting. And yeah, that's about it on this end of things. Outside of that, the weather here is absolutely wonderful. So, really nice in the shade, really nice in the sun, which is also kind of cool.
Yeah.
No pun intended. And yeah, just good stuff. How about you, Spectre? How are you doing?
I think actually our farmers market opened up this past week as well.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Our state's going through like a 4-phase reopening schedule. Each schedule is like 2 weeks long minimum.
Mhm.
So like we've hit phase 2, I believe, last week, or it's happening this week. And they are reopening everything slowly. And of course,
Yeah.
if we get an uptick in coronavirus BS, they go back at the very least, or they're going to shut everything down again.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
I dig it. I dig it.
See, I live in Plymouth, Plymouth,
Mhm.
Massachusetts. There's nothing here. People come here to see a friggin' rock. Okay. So it's like, that's like the highlight. They spent actually several $1 million over the past 5 years getting ready for 2020 because this is the 400th year of Plymouth.
Yeah.
So it was this huge thing they're getting ready for. And then it's like coronavirus. It's like
shut that social machine
touche,
down.
touche, God, touche. I'm at this point, I'm not convinced it wasn't actually created in British labs. Get back in Plymouth.
That's very much a possibility. Rolled out by the Brits to get back at Americans.
Why would the British be so upset with Americans? I don't understand this. We're all fine Canadians. Oh, we're not all Canadians here, are we?
Look, we're still a little nettled. You guys burned down the White House
Twice. I'm sorry. What was that? Was that out loud? I apologize.
I'm sorry. Wait, twice.
Uh-huh.
Something I am unaware of right now.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure if I'm up for the history lesson, but however, it's come to my knowledge, we burnt it down twice just for kicks.
So I think one was only once during 1812.
Oh, there was that. I think there was another instance sometime down the line. But however, maybe people in the chat could help us out with that. Maybe I'm, over glorifying a certain situation that took place back in 1812.
Like Washington burned, okay? Washington itself burned.
Yeah, that's true. Goodness.
Only like a handful of houses that you guys didn't burn down. I know the commandant of the Marine Corps, his house wasn't touched.
Oh, that's good.
Or a couple of them that weren't burned down. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Gotcha. So, got a quick question for you. It's more of an umbrella guy question. I saw a video that you made, and it looks like you're really taking them to the woodshed pretty hard. Outside of the videos you've done on Kitchener Comic-Con, can I ask why this video was made and what was going on with it? I didn't quite understand the full contents behind it.
Which video? Because there's a couple I have done.
Let's say the most recent.
I'm gonna have to go look at the title of that one. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I again just waking up, barely remember what's going on 5 hours ago.
That makes sense.
I think it does. That one was the okay. So Tug ends up coming out and essentially doxing Vicky Verse. I'm not sure if you spoke to her. But he basically comes up and goes, well, there's one person, I can't do the voice only because I can't think of how I would fuck my sister. And we try to ignore Kentuckabama down there. So he comes out and he basically says on, I think it was Liam Gray's stream, well, I found out how to, her information, and this is how I did it. And he goes through this little path that he took to dox her.
Mm-hmm.
And taking what he said, I actually went through to see if it could be done. And lo and behold, it could not be done. So it was kind of this interesting thing to watch where this guy who's complained about being doxed is in turn doxing people he doesn't like. And he's doing it in this kind of circular way where he's trying to give himself plausible deniability. Well, somebody else did this. No, you literally had just said you did this. And it kind of went that way. And this is a guy who has blamed literally everybody but himself for being doxed. He's blamed me for doxing him. Even though my personal opinion on doxing is unless you are a threat to people and or committing a crime, I'm not going to dox you. That's how I am. If you're a pedophile working with children, you can bet your sweet ass I'm going to be freaking doxing you because you should not be with children. Tug is not, to my knowledge, to that point. So I am against doxing as principle. Sure, I post on Kiwi Farms, but so does Ethan Van Sciver. So if I'm a doxer because of who I hang out with, well, look at this. Liam Gray posts on Kiwi Farms, thread banned from the Comicsgate forum thread. Ethan Van Sciver posts there. There's a couple of people who do, but he's blamed everybody else for his doxing. When the truth of the matter is, the reason that Tug was doxed was because last October he comes out and starts laughing about how he's lay epic troll, and he has filed a trademark for the Redfamous name. Trademark applications are
I remember that.
Yeah, they're public record. So some intrepid Kiwis went through, found all the information, and posted it to Kiwi Farms. Tug doxed himself, but he blames everybody else for it. And it's this kind of BS thing that I absolutely despise about him, where he blames everybody else for what he does, or he creates this kind of cult mentality, for lack of a better term, where he comes out and says, I'm being attacked by all the anti-Comicsgate people because I care about you guys. And the one that really pisses everybody off is whenever he's getting some criticism, he quickly picks up his 6-year-old girl and throws her in front of him and says, if you attack me, you're actually attacking my daughter. Kind of, in order to get to me, you have to go through my daughter. And what kind of a piece of garbage will you be if you do that? That's really what got under the skin of a lot of people, myself included, when it comes to Tug. So the videos I've kind of done have been, look at the hypocrisy of this individual. Look at what he's doing. His wife has a separate YouTube account, or not YouTube, Twitter account. That she uses to harass people. She posts up pictures of them and their children, for example. She puts the personal information of, I think it's Chrissy. Her mother committed suicide. Ooh. And she uses that against Chrissy. And they've tried to say, oh, that's somebody completely different. It's not Tug's wife. And then you look at the picture, and the picture comes from Tug's wife's Facebook page. It's like, so that's kind of the long and short of why I am just not a fan of Tug. And I just, as a personal note, I hate the whole anti-SJW shtick because they do the exact same stuff they whine about each and every time, and then they try to justify it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of makes a bit of sense now. And one of the one of the topics we were actually going to talk about today, funny enough, was the kiwi farms. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. And basically, the main topic, of course, we're going to talk about Cards Against Humanity and a certain opportunist that has been taking advantage of another hashtag, it seems.
Oh no, not a hashtag.
Yeah, I'm just finding this out now. I guess this happened like on the 9th, but started up a hashtag CAH. So Cards Against Humanity is over. So yeah, it seems like there's a huge cancel push for Cards Against Humanity for Lord knows whatever reason. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Kiwi Farms because I with Section 230 coming around and potentially maybe or maybe not having an effect on that. I did have someone post something last night. I saw someone post something last night about kind of a meltdown that the owner of the website had about a bunch of different stuff, like lots to unpack in that post. But part of it was again on the discussion of doxing. Part of that was the fact that he apparently really didn't like how the site went to that direction. And I'm not super versed on Kiwi Farms, but I mean you've been like Spectre, you've been there for
neither am I.
Well, you've been on there longer than probably most people that are watching this, but as far as I understood, because like I mean when I first saw it when it was on like when Null went on Nick's channel to talk about it.
Right.
And as far as I know, at that point, that's kind of what they did was like dox people and talk about people.
I'm a bit of a layman here. What's a kiwi farm? What's involved in all this?
It's where they farm all the kiwis, all the New Zealanders.
That makes sense. All right.
Actually plants, so that's exactly what they are. They're not people; they're plants. So
they're plants. All right,
yeah. Makes sense.
All right, New Zealand.
It's yep. for lack of a better phrase. It is a website that is forums kind of, but it's dedicated to kind of, or at least it was dedicated to cataloging the inherent stupidity of internet celebrities. So that was what it started out as, just cataloging, archiving, pointing and laughing at people who do stupid stuff on a consistent basis, which really makes me wonder why I don't have a thread on there, but hey, neither here nor there. And over time, from what I understand, because I only started posting there probably end of 2017, I think that's when I found out about it through August 2018 when I was part of Ethan Ralph's server. I think that's when I found out about it.
Gotcha.
But over time, it kind of was changed from this, let's laugh at these stupid people to let's dox everybody. Let's, bring a lot of this stuff into the more IRL sphere where you take the internet beef and you bring it to the real world. And it's not unique to Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms, for the most part, there's a rule: don't touch the poop, right? Don't get involved. Don't bring anything to the real life. But there are people on there that do it because they think it's funny. I think
that sounds familiar.
Well, there are people who some of the groups that they catalog and archive now are furries. There's an entire subsection of the forums called Animal Control that is dedicated to specifically furries, but it's really gone over to the people who legitimately fuck animals.
Ooh.
Yeah, they
and we call that bestiality, don't we?
We call that a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, they want to have sex with the animals and then they kill them afterwards because I just can't think of the pain I put it through. It's called a zoo sadist or something like that.
Why am I being educated here? Goodness gracious!
you open.
Yes,
guess what? The only thing left in there is hope. The only thing left in there is hope. You're not getting away now.
Oh God! There's no escape.
Yes, but they do
Yeah,
the
time for a drink.
transgender community they laugh at because you
Oh,
get,
that kind of sucks.
well, there's a lot of them. They call them rat kings, which are people in the gay and trans community who they use their position, like who they are, and connections for personal gain. Like there's a person named Lorelei who is a legitimate rapist.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
On the
then you have,
farms?
like, no, not on the farms. Just,
Oh, okay. Just in general.
Yeah.
Okay,
you have
gotcha.
Jonathan Yaniv, which
Oh, yeah, that one.
Canadians, I'm sure you know who that is. And you got they like a lot of it is lighthearted. Let's make that very clear. Like,
Okay. All right.
there's no general hatred for most of the people they cover. Like DSP, they laugh at him. They just laugh at how much of an idiot he is. Like when DSP's lawsuit was pretty much settled out of court, it was just a giant freaking joke to everybody because of how absurd it was. But then you get to some people, you start to get to like the celebs like Ethan Ralph and whatnot, and you start to see that hatred start to boil over, especially over the past few weeks. Josh, the owner of Kiwi Farms, made a passing comment on his podcast, his stream, saying that maybe Ralph should be sacrificed to the corn for a bountiful harvest. And because
oh shit, I heard about this. Yeah.
It came across my feed too, and I don't even really follow that.
I live on a different continent with different shores and stuff like that. Even that rolled upon my actual land, which is like interesting. Sacrificing to the corn.
It's, I guess it's a South Park reference. I don't.
Yeah. South Park.
And Ralph took that a lot more personally than he should have, and he lost his friggin' mind over it. Nothing.
Yes,
Ralph is an individual who you say something that's not sucking his gun-flavored micro dick, and
wait a second. How do you know it's a micro dick? How do you know this, Spectre?
We've all seen.
It's the internet.
What he looks like.
Okay.
So anyways, but he, you could say something completely neutral like that, make a joke, and he flips and he loses his fucking mind because you said something. And at this point, like previously, he couldn't take criticism. He was a lot better about it in 2017, 2018, but then it just went downhill after Miami and whatnot. Now it's like his wife has divorced him and he's an alcoholic and stuff like that. He just can't take it. So he lost his mind with Josh, with Null. So you see that, and you see how that bleeds over to Ralph has an account. He was really shitting on Kiwi Farms because of it, and you would watch stuff like that. And I think part of the problem for Josh is that he watched how his website went from let's laugh at these people to let's dox everyone. And now he has to deal with a bunch of people complaining, you doxed me, take this off the internet, entire DMCA claims that he has to respond to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taking up so much of his time, I think, at this point where he's not having fun because the
work
have become something he never intended. I don't think he intended it to become what it was. It was never supposed to become this Goliath on the internet, for lack of a better term. It was supposed to stay this very niche website where they would just laugh at people like Ralph or me or something like that. Not that I'm worthy of a threat or anything. I don't. But you watch how they laugh at people, and then people just came in and started turning it into something else. And because Null is such a free speech absolutist, he allowed it to happen. And the problem is that if you don't put your foot down and stop that immediately, people push the boundaries. So with the PPP stream, for example, I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did catch a bit of that. So I saw that exchange going back and forth, and the hosts that were on the show, especially when the feces was hitting the fan at high velocities, like whoa, damn.
You had people who were coming in to spam, bring PPP on or PPP wins, stuff like that. And mods were timing them out. I wasn't, because I was under the impression at the time that he was a literal free speech absolutist. Apparently, that is actually a rule: don't spam. So, me getting angry was kind of stupid, but hey, whatever. But that was the rule. And PPP comes in. He's like, "Oh, I guess you're not a free speech absolutist." And Nick's like, "No, I literally have like one rule: don't spam. Your guys are spamming; they get blocked."
Yeah.
If you don't create boundaries, people push them. And you have all these little kids, like 16, 17, 18, who are...
Sometimes they're the worst.
they try to be edgy and they try to push things. And then when you respond, they're like, oh, well, I guess you don't believe in free speech. I personally am not a free speech absolutist. I support free speech, but I fully expect that there are limits that are going to be present. For example, if I am not going to say that I'm against misgendering somebody, but if I call Crumb a guy, right? If I call Chris a guy, if I use pronoun he or him or whatever, I shouldn't be punished for that legally or civilly. But but then you look at like, Canada or England or something where you misgender someone and it's off to the friggin' gulag with you.
Well, yeah.
Well, generally the appropriate punishment for someone being a dick is just to not associate with them.
Or be a dick right back.
Or be a dick right back, yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why people don't do that. It's like, look, somebody's going to be a dick. Well, welcome to reality, by the way. Not everybody is friendly and everything is hunky dory. People are assholes. I don't know if you knew this.
Well, I've a couple of times.
Right. Yeah. So it's like,
it's pretty crazy.
So Josh is I think he's starting to get burned out from having to deal with this. And then the Section 230 stuff also comes up. And he's just like, God, now I have to worry about this. It is retard president, as he's calling Trump right now because of it. Is he about to buy executive fiat, get rid of the only protections for Kiwi farms? And if those protections go down, Kiwi farms is gone. Yep. Josh has already said, as soon as that goes down, this website's gone. It's
and in all honesty, that makes the most perfect sense moving forward with that, especially with all the heat the Kiwi Farms website has been getting recently.
Well, it's not just that; it's you do have people who would file lawsuits. You have Ethan Ralph would file a lawsuit. He doesn't have the money to bury Josh under mounting legal bills, not by a long shot. And I think a lot of it would be, I would say the vast majority, the 90 to 95% of it, he would be protected. One, you can't punish somebody retroactively for what's going on.
As much as some people try.
Right. You can't retroactively punish someone. If I there was for example, last year there was the arc where Andy Worski and Ethan Ralph downloaded like 30 gigabytes of child porn. Softcore child porn. It was softcore. It makes a difference. The courts don't care. But it was basically sexually explicit images, not like of like underage kids on Twitter, with like their hands over their cleavage and stuff like that. Where within the U.S. judicial system, the purpose of the picture has to be to titillate, to cause arousal. So even something like that is still by law child porn.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. And they essentially downloaded 30 gigs of it. We're showing it on a stream to catch the pedos on Twitter, and you're just sitting there going, what the hell were you idiots thinking?
Wow.
And a lot of people were coming in and going, well, kind of tongue in cheek, saying that Ralph's a pedophile because he calls a bunch of people he doesn't like pedophiles. They would not be able to come if 230 goes away. They wouldn't then be able to come back and say, well, because these people said a year ago I'm a pedophile, I'm suing you for that, because he'd go into jail and say, this is protected by the law at the time. You can't punish me for it.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. It was just really interesting to see, because like I know that there's a lot to unpack with Josh's post there, but part of it was saying like how he used to be fighting for free speech, how he used to be like an absolutist and all that other stuff, and now he's moved away from that. He's kind of thrown that away. I found that really interesting, but also in part because, like, from what I understood, Kiwi Farms had a set of rules, but they weren't really enforced all the time.
They are, but it's kind of it is kind of selective. One of the biggest rules is you do not get involved with the subject of you don't go out. We're not an autistic Illuminati, so no planning gay ops, no engaging in gay ops or anything like that. Like, I have been hit by a warning because one of the things I said after Tug reported my Twitter account and had it suspended, and took down one of my videos claiming a privacy complaint, was, well, you know what? Tug is actually making money off the Umbrella Corporation logo, and he's selling masks with the Umbrella Corporation logo from Resident Evil. Maybe I should get in touch with Capcom because, he's made $200,000 off of this. They might care. And, I posted that kind of like this, maybe I'll do it kind of thing on Kiwi Farms. And one of the mods is like, what part of no autistic Illuminati do you not get? I'm like, fair enough, stuff like that. They don't like people teasing information. If you have information, they want it and they want it now. I learned this with something that Nick wanted to do, and I'm still not going to say it because I haven't gotten the go ahead. It has to do with appeals for Vic Mignogna, stuff like that. And I teased that. I said, look, apparently this is, there's something that could be coming down the pipe. Don't know yet. And people got really upset over that. There are things you're not supposed to do. And some of the mods enforce it a lot more stringently than others.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a subjective thing. I can understand where rules aren't being enforced, across the board, but it's mainly because of the mods. Some of them are just like, whatever, you're not doing anything to, you should probably stop now.
Yeah.
But others will just ban you outright. So,
yeah. Well, it's unfortunate because that kind of creates situations that we're seeing now, like that, I guess, where things are getting a little bit out of control for Josh, and things are kind of going in a direction that he didn't want them to go to. And I mean, I know it's shitty to say, but like, speaking from a management perspective, you can't really put that on the shoulders of your moderators. Like, I've modded boards before, like, to a much lesser extent. Like, I've been in management, I've done all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, like, you're the one giving these people the power to do this. You're the one that is in control of this. Ultimately, you have to be aware of what's going on. And yeah, exactly, the buck stops with you, because honestly, at the end of the day, if, like, for example, if your website gets hacked because you were super lax on updating your security, or if you have X, Y, or Z people posting whatever for 6 months because you don't check that forum or whatever else, you're not paying attention to it, like, that is not your moderator's fault. That's your fault. Like, that's my opinion.
To his credit, Josh has been very good about taking, he's taken responsibility every time something screws up. He's very good about that. And if you look at many of the other people who place blame specifically on him, they like to point it out. They're gloating over this. Josh feeling like he is just not having fun, stuff like that. They're gloating over it. Again, Ralph is talking about, oh, you hate to see it, and he's laughing about the entire thing. You can understand where he's coming from. And these people come in and they start laughing about it, if roles were reversed, Ralph would be blaming Flamenco, or in very rare cases, Gator, or somebody else having to do with it. For example, Ralph docks one of his patrons because, again, he made a joke to Nick Rekieta. So what does Ralph do? He goes over to HN and he posts this guy's personal information. And then to cover his tracks, he immediately, and I'm talking within a minute, goes to this guy in DMs and says, "Oh my God, your stuff was released over on Cal. I'm so sorry. How can I help you?" It's like, what the hell? So he tried to place the blame on Zoom. He tried to place the blame on Josh. He tried to place the blame on Dispatch. He's placing blame on everybody but himself, even though we're watching it. And then even when he's caught, it's like, well, look, I wasn't in a good headspace.
Yeah. Well, I guess I think we can all agree on who's really behind it because he seems to be the connecting tissue between all of it. I think it's Rekida's fault.
It's definitely Nick. It's definitely Rackets.
Just ruins everything.
The man needs to be stopped. The man needs to be stopped right now.
So true.
Which one is this?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's all really, it's all like super weird stuff, and like, I don't know. I can't pinpoint when people started taking things to like an extreme, or just be like where it was profitable to be offended about things. Like it's so bizarre. Like I'm looking at some of this crap from. Let me just see if I can find it here again. So there's this crap. I'm going to screen share just the timeline of this garbage, as much as I don't want to. I have to. It's an absolute dumpster fire. So as you can see, like Exhibit A, obviously, it's, coming from this wonderful human being.
You didn't redact the information. Doxed.
I know, doxed. But she's making a claim that that somebody who's behind Cards Against Humanity is complicit in is an abuser and is complicit in abuse, and she's of course made a Medium thread, and she's of course made a hashtag, and she's imploring people and propping up other people that are talking about their stories and everything else. Stop me if you've heard this before. Like, look at this crap. Like, she just keeps going. Like,
why is she doing this?
That's a good question.
Does anyone know? Attention? Well, there is that.
That's exactly what it is. You see a lot of these people who do this, and it is specifically for attention.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you.
Yeah. Sorry, go.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if you pay attention. You've been paying attention to the Vic Mignogna lawsuit, but during
Vic
Lasagna, but during her deposition, Monica Rial, just out of the blue, basically admitted that she's been jealous of him since at least 2005 because she was a main character in an anime and he was like some supporting character. But his name was on an obscure box within freaking Europe, and her name wasn't. And that's exactly what it is. It's she felt slighted, so for attention, she's doing X, Y, and Z. And that's exactly what like Anita Sarkeesian is doing. She's doing it for attention. A lot of these people were not told enough that their opinion is shit when they were a kid.
Yeah.
And so you have people running around doing this stuff.
Like, and I mean, like, look at this garbage here. I mean, blue check mark, of course. I'm ashamed that she identifies as this and is using this platform in such a ridiculous fucking way. Have any of the game industry outlets written about the fact that Max was accused of very bad things in 2014 and has now also been accused of more bad things? Like, how does that correlate? First of all, it's like you're accusing him of something without posting proof, and then you're adding on to it by saying, and now he's accused of these other things, so those must be true because this uncorroborated story that I'm talking about here. Like,
that sounds familiar,
doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
It's one of those things. It's like there's a guy that we nobody knows about, but he's Kick Vic, and one of the things he said about Vic Mignogna on a stream was. And this is a guy who claims to be a devout Christian and alt-right and stuff like this. But one of the things he said about Vic was, given the amount of women who have accused him of this, it's impossible to believe he didn't do any of this. Uncorroborated stories, no evidence, stuff like that, but he still says something like that. It's the exact same thing. And I like how I like how Avery here is pretty much channeling her inner Trump. He did some very bad things.
Very
did
bad things.
The worst things. The worst things.
Horrible things.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Like, if they're going to emulate Trump, they have to do it correctly. Why aren't they calling him Mad Max? Like, have any of the game industry outlets written about the fact that Mad Max was accused of bad things? Terrible, horrible, bad things.
Horrible, bad things. Absolutely deplorable.
That's kind of like a Milo Yiannopoulos meets Trump.
I'm sorry, I'm not American. I try my hardest.
Well, I can tell because you just said you're sorry.
And there you go, eh?
Like, what gets me is like they include this stuff because the whole Black Lives Matter stuff is huge right now. Cards Against Humanity, like whatever, it doesn't matter. They include particularly towards women of color. Has any of these people played Cards Against Humanity? Like, at fucking all?
No, here's a side question. The person who's complaining, who is she within the larger Cards Humanity?
She's nobody.
office?
She's a comedian, apparently.
She's a comedian. So basically, she's not even part of the whole. She's not part of the business or anything else like that.
Well, and she sells nude photos, apparently.
Yeah, you can get pictures of her feminine penis.
So why is she complaining then?
You got me.
Because outrage culture sells. It does.
And what was she selling then?
It sells.
And what's she selling? What are we buying? We're buying the drama here, or are we looking at?
Apparently, she's selling nudes. I don't know if you want to see that abortion, but you know.
Spectre, you're awesome.
That's a mistake.
Goodness gracious!
Like,
I don't know.
What is this crap? Like,
at the end of the day, it's virtue signaling. What ends up happening is they want. Look at
all that! Oh my god! Wait a second. So sorry to cut you off, Spectre, but I'm looking at this for the first time. Crumbs basically
fucking tweet
showing.
storm.
Like, look at this. Look at this. It reminds me of a certain private dick I'm aware of. Like, oh my goodness gracious. Look at this.
Don't get me wrong. I write freaking novels on kiwi farms, but goddamn, there's a limit even for me.
Yeah, this person needs to stop, take a break, go for a walk.
Stop.
Learn to lift weights, perhaps. I don't know.
Is this like, because I guess this person worked for them? Yeah, I worked with Nico and I can back all of this up. So Nico had something to say about, we'll get that in a minute. But then this person's like, since everyone's putting it all out there, we tried to write cards calling out abusers or punching up at rape culture, and we're told that they're never going to be in the game because of the accusations. Citation needed. Like, you need proof for this.
I excuse me. I need to go get my gun so that I can shoot my ex down that hard. The reason that it's not in there is because we want to offend people when we play Cards Against Humanity. There was a game that I played where the black card was, what is McDonald's new Happy Meal toy? And one of the answers was pedophiles. And everybody's like, wait, what the hell? And the guy who put it out there is just like, sometimes you play with your Happy Meal, sometimes it plays with you. And you're just like, oh my God, he won, by the way. That like, as soon as he said that, he won. But it's like, that's the point of Cards Against Humanity. It's supposed to offend everyone equally.
Yeah,
that's the point. And so when you go, I want to put my woke anti-rape stuff in here, the response is going to be, now we're going to put more rape stuff in here to trigger you. That's what Cards Against Humanity is supposed to be. It's supposed to be about pissing everybody off and laughing about it.
Like Daddy's belt. Like, hello. Auschwitz is a like, that's a card. Like,
like,
I don't know what they're thinking. Like,
my friend is Jewish. He loves Cards Against Humanity, and he loves getting the Auschwitz card. He loves it. He loves it. It's great because he gets to play it, and everybody knows exactly who put it out. It's just like, okay, Adam, you just win. Okay, come on. That's the point of it, and it's not that these people are actually upset. Let's make this very clear.
Yeah.
Ardita Sarkeesian and Ali B, they're not actually upset about Cards Against Humanity. It's a way for them to sit there and go, look how I have all these woke points. Look how progressive I am and stuff like that. And you're going, okay, whatever. Now I'm going to play a rape card because it's fucking funny because it's going to trigger you.
On a complete side note, I've always been impressed with the Cards to Humanity people because when Trump's building his wall, they actually bought a huge chunk of land to stop the construction of this, which is something a gaming company does not do. So I don't know why these people are going nuts over this particular company because
like they punch they're like South Park. They punch at everybody. Like there's nobody that say. But look at this. Don't let two white women that ran the writers' room say they didn't enact violence on their black and brown subordinates. What the fuck is that? Okay, citation needed.
So they were the two white women were the ones who were writing the running it. I'm going to call bullshit because women aren't funny. And it's.
And then we have Eileen Mary O'Connell, blue check mark, chiming in. Like, what's with these comedians? This makes my blood boil. What happened to having a fucking sense of humor?
Didn't comedians didn't comedians come up really recently and just say a joke is a joke and that's all it is? Like,
well, some comedians have done that, like Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah.
But there are others who are like, oh, we can't offend people. That's a terrible thing. Don't offend people. It's like,
and Boomer brings up a good point. That's why they have the blank cards. What do they think?
It's like, dark humor is like food. Not everyone gets it.
No, that's true. That's true. Well, Nico, I guess he worked for Cards Against Humanity, saying that the time that the owners, not naming names, because of course he doesn't want to throw somebody under the bus. The owners tried to put the N-word into the game, and how Max, not the owners, Max, tried to have him fired when he complained. X to doubt.
Let's not abuse the keyboard right now. Let's not abuse that keyboard.
Goodness, like, how can you complain about it being a racist, predominantly white?
Well, don't they got black cards too, right? So I don't know.
Well, I mean, they also have black employees. Like, I don't.
Do they really? That's amazing.
Like, I don't understand this. Like, apparently, they had two women heading up the writers' room. So I mean, diversity.
Again, explain why the latest set has not been funny.
Well, didn't like I don't know, somebody mentioned recently about how Cards Against Humanity got woke.
They did in the wake of Trump. Mr. Hopp just said this. They bought a section of land to prevent the wall being built there. Was
that during the Woken period?
So it's in the wake of Trump being elected is when that really started to come out. But the thing is that they do these purity tests where they get one thing and then they go, oh, but you're not doing this. Now you have to meet this criteria to pass my purity test. And you don't do that. And then all of a sudden you're the next, you are the literal incarnation of Hitler and Mussolini and Jesus Christ himself. And you're just the worst person possible. It's just purity test at the end of the day.
That's so true.
Goodness gracious.
I don't understand what the hell this is. Like, refreshing on docs for an interview. Contracted Nick Marcos guy. Blah, blah, blah. It was actually the CEO of a company. Like, I don't even know what this flex is.
So what are they upset about?
I have no idea.
Awesome. Yet again, sounds like another private detective we're aware of. Why are they so upset?
And like, people are just eating it up. Like, I don't get it. I can't understand it.
It falls within a predetermined sphere. So again, look at Vic Mignogna. People came in supporting the victims because believe all women. And then Stephanie Nadolny comes out and goes, but Chris Sabat actually tried to, use sex against me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be hired. And then it was like, suddenly we're not believe all women. It falls within a predetermined set. This person is good, so we have to protect them. But this person is bad, so any claim, no matter how BS, well, it has to be true. So it's this sort of absolute BS that comes up within, especially the woke culture. And it's not just woke culture. The anti-SJWs do the exact same thing. It's just they do it for their guys.
Yeah. I mean, out of all these tweets, I think Harm Wiggums nailed it. Like, a little shocked that Cards Against Humanity was ever okay. I mean, exactly. That's the point. It was never supposed to be okay. It is a horrible person simulator. I mean, like, people play apples to apples, and they make that in a horrible person simulator too.
It's like, it's called Cards Against Humanity. It's supposed to be a play of crimes against humanity. It's not that I'm sitting here going, I wonder if this is going to be kid friendly and family friendly.
I heard the next expansion is Cookies Against Humanity, but however
if you can't tell by the giant black box, it's definitely not colorful. It's definitely not made for children.
Then they had a set that was like bigger and blacker or something like that. Like, are you fucking serious?
The bigger, blacker box, and then inside, you had to like tear out the inside of the box, and you found the card that was the biggest, blackest dick.
It's like it was never okay. Cards Against Humanity is great because, like, I was a Magic judge. I would.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
I was a Magic judge, and one of the best things that would happen.
I'm sorry.
10 at night, Friday Night Magic would be winding down. So what would happen is the store owner, who's like 65, would pull out Cards Against Humanity and be like, "So are we playing?" And you're like, "Holy shit, Jay! Yes, we are." And that was like the best part of the Friday night. After all the little kids are gone, we would just play Cards Against Humanity while other people are just like into 2, 3 in the morning playing Cards Against Humanity. Other people would be playing like Commander or some other Magic, or they break out board games, and that's all we would do. But Cards Against Humanity was always a big draw because this was a family-friendly store when it was open. And it was like, the kids are away, let's do this. And this guy was an absolute degenerate. It was friggin' great. He's like 65 years old, retired, like Air Force veteran, 20 years in the service. And he's just like, he comes out, like, you would look at him and think grandpa. You would not think, holy shit, this guy loves Cards Against Humanity.
That's funny.
Like, and like, this is coming from a company that legitimately, I don't remember when it was, but they literally released an expansion that was just a piece of cow shit, and it was the piece of shit expansion, and they literally told people, don't buy this. This is literally a piece of shit. There is literally nothing else. They're like, there is nothing else to this. There's no special cards. It's literally just a piece of shit. And they actually sold out of it to the point where they had to stop. They're like, this is ridiculous.
We're not joking. We're a piece of shit.
This sounds awesome. I'm gonna buy 2 boxes.
Then they open it up. There's a little piece of shit. I did not expect this.
I wish someone would have told me about this. I would have spent $45 on a piece of shit like this.
People did.
Say what you want about them. They never lied to us once.
They never lied. They never lied. They were always straightforward. Like, it's so telling. Like, you look at this tweet. So now that Second City is over, I didn't even know that they tried to cancel Second City. Second City is over party. I want to turn our focus to another beloved Chicago institution, Cards Against Humanity, as their first Black/queer employee. Look at this virtue signaling.
Well, hold on. We're going to stop right there. As their first Black/queer Black woman employee, she's so black She has to mention it twice. That is
just in case you didn't catch it the first time.
A palatable person, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. So yeah, it started at Cards Against Humanity, and it was and in November 2016 after leaving a toxic work environment. So you joined Cards Against Humanity, which is at this point, I'm pretty sure in 2016 is notorious for how horrific it is. You leave a toxic work environment to join Cards Against Humanity. First mistake. That's a good one. First few months, everything was normal.
To be fair, November 2016 was probably when they were, Trump was just elected and Cards Against Humanity was going on the
woke train.
Yep, there's no brakes on the woke train, but there's also no brakes on the rape train. And if we've seen anything about woke culture, I'm not fully convinced that those two trains are not the same.
I think the colors are different. Maybe.
So she's saying that like the normal white people bullshit of people asking if her hair is real and commenting on how often she changes it. So people are complimenting on her hair, and she's mad because that's normal white people things. All right. And the shit hit the fan one day when I sent this message.
How is that normal white people things when, according to these people, white people don't talk to black people to begin with? I am so confused right now.
I mean, this is like saying you're black twice does mean like you're double dark, like the like extra crispy fried chicken. Oh my god, we're going to hell.
That's bad. That's horrible.
Oh man, demonetized.
Oh my god.
I think we demonetized 5 minutes ago, perhaps.
So let's break this down. So she's pissed off because shit hit the fan, quote unquote. Request, can we thread messages when possible? Which, I mean, seems like a really stupid request anyways, but I mean, whatever. Fun fact for anyone who doesn't like the hashtag some office thread, it is optional. Like, announcements is the only one required, and then she blocked out another post for some reason.
Look at all that blackness. Goodness.
Like, someone just confirmed in thread, announcements is the only mandatory channel. Some office is not required with this information. Fun fact, you can be here for the content and not want a messy read.
It looks like it's Discord.
Yeah. It does kind of look like it's Discord. What the fuck are they telling?
What is this?
How is this a shit show, first of all?
Is this a paper from the White House? Like, goodness gracious.
Forgive my request for little digital etiquette. That's definitely bait. That's definitely bait. It's like someone that's like trying to start a fucking fight. Meanwhile,
start a fight. You want to fight? There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like.
Meanwhile, everyone piled on the main channel. Here is what happened in other channels. Made fun in random. Decided to send me a DM to apologize. What the fuck? Saying, okay, never apologize. Never apologize.
Never.
Sorry if I came off as snarky or asshole. He genuinely didn't use to fucking hang him. Obviously, you know. Oh, he sent me a DM. He's terrible. Okay. Thought of a funny tweet. I'm not going to tweet it. Send it to me. Hey, everyone, can we just take this all to DMs? I don't think that's funny. How is that offensive?
They're crumb. Relax.
How is that offensive? So I'm not tweeting it because it's going to come out passive aggressive and subtweety. How is it not? Like, why are you blocking this person out? Why? Like, why? And here, okay, I think this is a bisexual flag. I think I'm not super versed on them all. So, hi everyone. Hi Trent. I have a question. Where shit posting is encouraged? What? That's not even a question, but sure. What if we change the name of this channel to like Friends or something so that people know this isn't entirely shit posting, just 80% shit posting? What is she trying to say here? I don't understand it.
So I'm the person confused here. Awesome.
I don't understand. What is offensive about this right now?
I don't get it myself.
God, can somebody in the comments watching this please tell me how this is offensive? Because I don't fucking understand.
And when you tell me Trump, drop me a line as well, please.
While all this was going on, I told all of the women in our private Slack how they call themselves allies, yet no one stood up for me until I called them out. So this is all over the fact that this chick has asked for people to to have conversations in one topic thread, apparently. And she's calling people out for not being an ally because they aren't sticking up for her when no one understands what her fucking point is.
Hey guys, can you take the shit posting to the shit posting channel? No, now we're shit posting every channel but the shit posting channel. Welcome to the fucking internet.
And then she's surprised that everyone in the office hated her after this because she made herself out to be a complete ass.
I mean, I don't even work with you, but I already hate you.
I was finally brave enough to speak out. I sent this email. Oh my god, she sent a fucking Karen email.
Look at the side.
To our office manager, Nick.
Fuck.
Poor Arcada. So she sent a Karen email.
This is page 2, by the way. Apparently
this is page 2. Page 2 of the email. I want to address the issue that has been nagging me at the office. I've started, and I think now is the time to talk about it. Of course, not when it happens.
Yep.
But now, several months after it, I'm sure. So I'm sure you saw what heard on Friday, blah blah blah, in the Slack #some office channel. Why are you complaining to management over a fucking Discord channel? Jesus Christ! I made a polite request. No, you made a snarky request to use threading when on the internet because you don't like how people are doing stuff on the internet, and then you got pissed off when people didn't agree with you. What happened so swiftly that I was shocked. Oh my god! Someone replied in an aggressive manner.
Oh my god!
While feeling empowered to be rude to me and the request I made.
I am empowered to be rude, damn it.
I don't know if it's the whiskey hitting me or if it's this fucking message. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's the message. It's the message.
Why can't it be both?
The response was essentially, if you don't like what's going on here, then you can leave. Yes! Why not? If you don't like the fucking shit that people are saying,
then stuff doesn't change. We need to change it. We need to make this more inclusive for everybody.
No, we don't. I'm going to exclude you even harder now.
People began to pile on the message confirming his point, all while being aggressive about it. Being aggressive is your opinion. They were not being aggressive. Being aggressive would be them getting off their computer, going over to your desk, and smashing your mug in your face. That would be aggressive.
Gotta be honest, I'm not completely convinced that wouldn't have been the proper response.
And who knows, that's not so
the problem with these people is that their parents didn't beat them enough when they were children. They were not told enough that their opinion is shit.
Like, look at this. The person sent an insincere apology. Never apologize. I'm going to echo Nick on that. Never fucking apologize to these people because they always, always, always take it the wrong way.
You know, in the military, there's a reason we have hazing, and it's specifically to deal with people like this. Because you will either get better or be thrown into a fucking dryer and die. It's one or the other. There's really no middle ground.
Also, while sending direct messages to others, oh no, and making fun of me for making the request because it was ridiculous. Like, please, everybody, can we please stop shit posting here, please? Yeah.
I'm going to say something on the internet and talk about how freaking offended I am about something. Well, welcome to the internet because it doesn't get better.
The misses are not happy, yeah.
And as a result of being, I was treated as being the issue. You were the issue. You literally were the issue. You literally were the issue. Nobody else had this opinion except you. You were the issue. 100%.
The lowest common denominator. Yeah, you might be the fucking focal points.
I feel like I'm being ostracized in the office, and I've been feeling like this way for months. Then why didn't you speak up?
Human resources, maybe?
Why didn't you talk about it when it first started happening?
Was she being called the N-word? Because
apparently,
that would just be the cherry on top.
Oh, here we go. Here we go into the more deep of the slathering of this. The most concrete example, but in every meeting and interaction I've had in the office, I'm ignored, erased, and shut down.
Erased and shut down.
It's created a hostile work environment for me. So why would you think that people are open to your stupid suggestion if everyone's treating you like a piece of shit?
How old is this person?
I would say probably mid-20s.
Mid-20s. That explain it then.
I'm not treated like a member of the company when it comes to decision making. I mean, newsflash, 90% of people aren't.
What's her position in the first place? Is she the creativity person? Like,
I think she's just like on the writing team.
she's on the writing team. Okay, so it's a team thing, not an individual thing. Like I've seen criticism like this before, and if you're in a part of a team and your idea sucks, and that's it. You move on to the next idea.
And this is the point. She's like, when I raise issues which are often ignored, as seen as the joint email, and I sent about reparations day.
You know the biggest thing I was looking from all of this right here. I'm not seeing any receipts here.
The thing is, it's like if you bring up a shitty point, if you bring up a shitty opinion and it does not get taken, that is not the problem of the person taking opinions.
No,
Here, Tay or whatever your name was, I have got a picture for you. I think this perfectly sums you up as an individual.
What are you doing?
There we go.
There it is.
There we go. That's a good one.
That's awesome.
Oh my god! So I want to believe that uncovering these dynamics in the office will ultimately lead to change for the better. Yeah, I'm sure. You just like literally threw your entire team under the bus. Where everyone actually feels welcome. It seems like the only person that doesn't feel welcome is Tay, number one, and it sounds like she's making everyone else feel unwelcome.
Wow. So, recap. They don't like my ideas, and they get thrown off to the side.
So
Because your ideas are shit.
because they didn't take her idea about the threading, and they didn't stop shit posting in general, and the friends group, they didn't stop shit posting there. It's the very definition of casual racism and sexism.
Casual. What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's the very definition of casual racism and sexism.
Casual
okay.
Racism. So if your ideas suck and someone says something about it, it's casual racism now.
And so to his credit, Nick, this manager at Cards Against Humanity, asked to meet in real life instead of responding digitally. Smart move.
Awesome.
Smart move.
Yep.
And said in his response, tone is lost in digital communications, which absolutely is correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Let me ask all the others how they felt about what happened. And then she inserts all the white people who piled on and have been racist to me for months.
Oh, wow.
If they were being racist to you, why didn't you file a complaint? And I'm not talking about with the government. I'm talking about with the city or with the states.
Well,
or something. Because we put these laws out there specifically for something like that.
Isn't this an internal matter? This is not an external matter, is it? Or am I missing something here? Am I missing something here? Is this an internal matter or an external matter?
This is internal.
It's internal. So why would the state get involved with an internal matter? That makes no sense at all.
If there's actual discrimination,
that's
what you make it sound like. There's discrimination in the workplace.
And the thing is that isn't the step before that the complaint goes to human resources, which you imagine says, look, this is what's going on. I feel discriminated against, blah, 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 blah. And they don't do anything about it. Then you go to the next step after that.
You don't have to go to HR with your complaint. You can actually just file a complaint with the state, with the, a lot of the laws are federal, but there are state versions for it. So why didn't you go there? It's once again, it's like the Vic Mignogna stuff. This totally happened. There's the police report. Why didn't you go to the police? Why didn't you talk to, somebody who could actually do something? Well, I talked to Stan Dolan, and Stan Dolan, no. Yeah. No. It's like,
So
These
this
people
chick,
don't. These people bitch about the police don't actually believe us. The police don't do anything, and then it comes out I didn't actually talk to the police, and you see it time and time again where these people don't go to the people who could actually change something. They would rather sit there and cry, and then they wonder why nobody gives a shit.
and literally goes on to say that she learned her lesson that she was alone because the manager that she went to, the manager that she spoke to,
Okay.
who acknowledged her, who carved out time to talk to her, who addressed her concerns, and brought it up to the people that she had concerns with. That because that manager did not fully believe her 100% immediately and fire everybody and force everyone to change and snap to a decision and just automatically, yes, you're right. That person's wrong and she's alone. Horrible way of looking at it, by the way. And then she says all of this happened and blah, blah, blah. Everyone remembers about Cards Against Humanity saves America. There's supposed to be a day dedicated to reparations. Okay. And
Somebody probably heard that, was like, that is a stupid idea and we're not doing it.
So talking about how they were going to redistribute wealth to black people. That wealth, $20 for 400 years of abuse and subjugation. At least it's something. It's more than what Company B does.
Are you 400 years old?
And she says, I had something to say about it. Of course you did.
Of course.
Of course you did, Black Karen.
Let's see here if we can zoom this in. This doesn't want to zoom in. Okay. I have strong opinions about Reparations Day. Of course you do.
Oh, man, a black person with a strong opinion about Reparations Day. Oh, man, I'm surprised.
Of the 2017 holiday bullshit. Sure. Well, it's early in the planning phase. I'd like to address them. People in the company approached me after the meeting last week, and many share concerns but aren't comfortable speaking up. X to doubt.
I thought you were alone.
I thought you were alone in 2016.
Not anymore. Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's important to, and I mean, isn't that racist? If all the white people go to the one black person to share their concerns about Reparations Day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
racist?
100% racist, except it's not, because they're totally going to a black person, and that's completely okay. But it's racist now because they went to the black person and they didn't take them seriously. But at the time, it totally was not racist. I just gave myself a headache.
Oh my god. Okay. It's important. I think it's important to consider how this day could be harmful for the company and the people involved.
Harmful for the company. Cards of Humanity. What? Is this like the friendly going Steve Jackson game corporation? I don't think it is.
So we as far as I'm understanding this, we have someone who is at least African American, saying that they do not want a Reparations Day themed card in Cards Against Humanity. They don't want reparations to be acknowledged.
But
if I'm understanding this. 400 years later,
I demand it.
Yeah. And Boomer says, this is why race hiring is awful. I agree. You get people who don't know how to work or relate to others. Yeah. Absolutely. And reparations are ridiculous. Look at how it worked. That's a topic for next week for the Native Americans.
They miss social cues and they blame everybody else for them missing social cues. Like their autism kicks into overdrive, but it's everybody else's fault for not dealing with them like the autistic piece of shit they are.
Like, and this is what I mean. Like, why people don't take a lot of this shit seriously from these individuals. I understand, because like when it comes down to racial relations and stuff like that, I know most people won't say anything, or if they see someone being a dick to someone on the street for insert racial thing here, I will stop and intervene. Like, people know I support the black community. I support people. I will stop people. I will aid people, etc. You don't need to virtue signal constantly to show that you're doing it. Just do it. Just do it. Just to support these people. Treat them like normal. But here you have people that are criticizing companies. No other company, as far as I'm aware, no other company probably before George Floyd. Now they're going to see like a million of them. No other company has made a fucking reparations day. Not a single one.
Yeah.
And here you have, there is a lot of potential for this stunt to harm the company's image.
Yep.
I want you to think about it this way too. A company does this and it gets backlash because they did it because it's racially insensitive. So no other company does it. And then they come out and complain that no company is doing it. It's a catch-22. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. No matter the people that want this want to be perpetual victims.
Yeah.
That's what they want. It doesn't matter if you're woke. It doesn't matter if you're anti-woke. There is no way for you to be able to please these people because they don't want to be pleased.
Exactly.
They want to be in a perpetual state of I am a victim. And they're, and even though they offer solutions, quote unquote, at the end of the day, they don't want those solutions actually implemented.
So, Spectre, here's a $5 question for you. What do you do when you come across a situation like this?
Tell them to fuck off.
All right.
So, like she says, it could make the audience.
By the way, you should hire me.
It could make the audience feel bad, and it could make the employees feel uncomfortable. If saying that making reparations, or at least having a reparations day, makes employees feel uncomfortable,
or the clients of Cards of fucking Humanity,
I might piss some people off by saying this. If reparations, or the idea of reparations, or a company doing that makes you uncomfortable when it literally has no effect on your fucking life whatsoever, you should probably get counseling.
Yeah,
probably get counseling.
I mean, why is this person saying that white people might be upset about? Because apparently this is the only black person who's working at Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, there's another black person.
Why
She's the first and only at the time, apparently.
Yeah, at the time.
So why do you?
Wait a second. Didn't someone else say that this is a bad idea in this message thread right here?
She's saying it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
She's saying it's a bad idea because it could make people feel bad, and it could make employees uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
before, yeah. Wasn't there someone saying that their idea sucked or something like that?
Well, she said that her idea for like making a stop shit posting in a fucking general thread is a bad idea. Like, so what I'm saying now she's pointing out the company wants to do something for the black community, and she's saying, well, don't do it because it could make people feel bad. And then she also says the individual reparations could end up being small, which may have a negative impact.
Wow.
Like,
fuck, I hate 2020.
Like I want to ask people in the black community. I want to ask people this. Would people in the black community rather have $0 or rather have $20?
Well, what does that really matter?
The point is,
yeah,
it might be small now, but it could grow into something bigger. If you and saying cutting a one-time $15 check trivializes the generational trauma experienced by people of color. Bullshit. It does.
It's like the people who were saying during the coronavirus pandemic when the Trump bucks went out. Oh, this isn't enough. Look, would you rather have $0 or $1,200?
Yeah,
easy choice for me.
Easy choice. Like, would you rather a company acknowledge reparations, acknowledge the plight of a fucking 400 years of whatever else? Would you rather a company acknowledge that or continue ignoring it? From a person of color's perspective, I want to know.
They would actually prefer that you ignore it. Because again, it's perpetual victimhood. I want to be a victim, and it's if you acknowledge it and you try to make me feel better about myself, then I can't be a victim.
Question: how old's the story?
This one is from 2017. So the story is recent because she's bringing it up now.
Okay.
But her email was from 2017.
So basically, she's been at home in front of the computer for the last 2 months, not really interacting with anybody, being in total confinement. I think that maybe she might have to get some sort of psychological test done on her because she's feeling this bad after all of this, I think there's some much underlying issues from all of this.
Perpetual victimhood. And I just want to say right now, Max Temkin, you need to release this entire email chain because
Yes.
you notice how she blacked out a bunch of replies. Really, really makes you think what was said at that point. What was said? You know, because you notice I can't actually see like
She's blocking out stuff that makes her look bad, obviously.
exactly. She's making. I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm gonna say it. She's blocking out stuff that makes her look like a whiny cunt.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she's doing. Oh no, Spectre used a bad word. Look, I play with Aussies and I give zero shits about your feelings.
And she goes on to say, she says, the day is intended as a positive statement of our company's beliefs, but it won't necessarily be received that way. I mean, you're assuming. People who never experienced this trauma may receive it as a prank and think that it's funny. What are you talking about?
Through that trauma. I'm not sure if you knew this, but in 1865, after a 4-year war to end slavery, it was abolished. You have never lived through it. You can't even go, I lived through the Jim Crow era, because you didn't. You didn't live through the civil rights movement. What you are is an entitled piece of shit who, once again, should have had her ass beat in order to show that no one gives a shit about your opinion. No one. Not one person gives a fuck about this whining opinion. But you sit here and you go, I think that this is going to be taken some other way. Really? Why do you believe that? What facts do you have to support that? Absolutely nothing. All you have is your whining need for perpetual victimhood to sit there and say, I need people to validate my fucking existence. There are better ways to do it. Why not join the Peace Corps? Why not go out and actually do something? No, instead, you're going to sit there on your fucking keyboard and you're going to type out words on a screen rather than go out there and actually do something productive.
Exactly.
Do anything. And you are part of the fucking problem, because there is some racism within the United States. There is. I would even argue that in parts of the South, yeah, there is systemic racism. Absolutely. There is racism all over the place. So why aren't you doing anything? It's like the gay and lesbians and the trans people who they sit in their fucking couches in Canada or safe in Western society, and they write screels about how Iran is against gays, how in the Middle East, you know, gays are thrown off roofs. Why aren't you in the Middle East actually fucking doing something? Why? Because that would require you to do actual fucking work. That would require you to do something, to pick yourself up, to actually get out of your fucking chair and do something. No, it's just easier to talk about how woke you are. When push comes to shove, you're the fucking people that make everything worse, because you sit there, you're just like the white supremacists who are on the internet and don't actually do anything. Don't get me wrong, I really don't want the white supremacists doing anything other than sitting in their chair, but the point still stands. You don't actually believe any of this. It's all about, how can I make myself feel better? That's why you all have
exactly.
a Patreon that you try to shill. Give me money. You are the living embodiment of that morbidly obese black woman who's right in front of a fucking whiteboard saying, fight racism, donate money to me as reparations. You are that literal fucking meme. And it's not just the black community, it's the third wave feminist community, it's all these woke motherfuckers. You don't do anything other than complain on the internet. And then you get pissed when we laugh at the fact that nobody takes you seriously.
100%. Amen. 100%. And like, she goes on again to say the stunt could be the very definition of punching down. Bullshit. She says, it doesn't feel right that an overwhelmingly white company is telling the story of reparations, of why reparations is important. Why doesn't a black company do it? Why are you leaving it to a white company? Why does a white company have to do it?
Why aren't you telling them why it's important?
Exactly.
You're the only black person there, apparently, according to you. You're the only one. Why aren't you sitting there going, this is why it's important to me? Instead, you're sitting there like, once again, a Karen, and saying it could be seen as something. I want to speak to your fucking manager. And then the manager responds to you and you black it out, because I guarantee you he basically said, please stop being a fucking idiot.
Well, and she apparently sent it to a bunch of people. She says partners in the top here. And Max replied, and then she says, hi, all, replies all again, which is a ridiculous thing to do when you're in a group chat. You're supposed to, like, if one person replies to you, reply to them. I wanted to stress that I feel very strongly about this issue and not be remiss to weigh in. I urge you to consider this is a very sensitive issue for people of color, especially coming from a company whose leadership isn't diverse. Are you fucking kidding me? I'd
This
strongly advise.
whole thing is very, very immature. This whole thing is not being taken care of properly. I do not know why this person feels the need to go on social media to spread this around. What does
Because
this
they're not
actually help?
professional.
Well, exactly. So how does this really help anything? How does it actually move the actual ball forward?
And you know what she says? She says, I believe you could do more good work by donating to organizations that are doing reparations policy work. What the fuck do you think that they're fucking doing right here?
I'm going to put it this way.
This is frustrating me hard.
Andy Worski and Geek Thulu just essentially officially broke up. And the response, Geek Thulu is complaining because Andy Worski totally didn't act like a professional in their business relationship. And then he puts out these screenshots of his DMs with Andy Worski to show how unprofessional he was. And in those screenshots, Andy's basically saying, look, call me, let's talk about this. Pretty much doing the professional thing. What Geek Thulu wanted was to keep everything in DM so he could leak them out in order to make it look like Andy wasn't the professional. It's the exact same thing that these people do, where they want to make she even said it. He wanted to talk to her face to face. Why? Because it's something that should be talked about face to face. He's giving you the fucking respect to say, let's talk about this. Let's do this face to face. That way, I'm fucking listening and that you can talk to me, not past me or something like that. And that's exactly what it is. They're not professional. Again, perpetual victimhood. These are the people who go out to immediately start screaming about how they're victims of whatever. Case in point, the quartering just lost the Dollar Shave Club sponsorship because, if you look at that motherfucker, he totally uses it.
Yeah, 100%.
And he claimed that the reason he lost it was because he had just made some edgy tweets, his usual thing whenever he gets backlash.
Yeah.
And Dollar Shave Club a week later got in touch with him and said, no, we dropped you as a fucking sponsor because you made us no money. Gee, I wonder who could have seen that coming. And he had to come out and go, well, this is the response they gave me. I guess I look like the unprofessional bastard. No shit. But he went with the immediately with the least likely scenario in order to push a victimhood mentality, looking like an unprofessional bastard. And then they come back and say, no, here's the actual reason.
Yeah. This part here probably pisses me off a little bit more than the last part. Not gonna lie. She says, not only did they address me, even though I signed it, they don't address me. Max tried to defend the day because the founders are Jewish and paid for their college and such from Holocaust reparations, and that's why it's important to them.
And were there Holocaust reparations?
Fucking what?
I'm sorry. Did Germany give they go, oh, okay, let's give all the Jews some fucking, yes, we will give all the Jews, we will give them reparations.
I mean,
give them the money that they need to go through life.
I mean, I'm not super versed on that. I don't know if there was or not, or if the U.S. forced them to do it or whatever else. But
no. I guarantee there wasn't.
No, there wasn't.
You know what? Let's look at this. Hold on. Let's see. Holocaust.
Most of our families have received monetary reparations from the German government because we had grandparents and family members killed in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently there were reparations between Israel and Germany.
Huh.
Yeah.
Was to pay Israel for the cost of resettling and to compensate individual Jews. Let's see how much the.
Well, it was enough to pay for college, apparently.
Well, in 2009, apparently they did another one. About $3,000 per person, because that totally 100% paid for college. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were Holocaust reparations.
Well, learn something new every day. But she's sitting here and trying to compare.
Holocaust.
She's trying to water down the fact that these people are supporting reparations, or at least want to have reparations, because they got some from Germany. And she's like spitting on the fact that now white people who probably didn't even own slaves want to have some sort of reparations for how people's ancestors, not even how they were, how people's ancestors were treated. And she's a degenerate for sitting at 6% battery life. Just saying, on her iPhone.
Did it come from her iPhone?
It did, yeah. And she said she criticizes Nick for doing another offline check-in to see how things are.
That's horrible of Nick to do that. Just sending off a message saying, "Are you alright?"
Fucking terrible person.
Imagine
Horrible.
Following up. Wow, what a monster.
And then she lied to him. He checked in with her, and she fucking lied to him. I told him things are better for me because I stopped caring, and that was the end.
Oh, that's the end. Meanwhile, all these fucking tweets are here. Why?
My God.
Why?
I stopped
Oh, my
caring
God.
up until now when I saw that I could get some clout or some pity bucks.
Yeah.
I stopped thinking anyone would show up for me because that was an okay resolution to the issue. So you lied when someone came and said, "Is everything okay?" You said, "Yep, everything's fine," smiley face.
Yep. And then they wonder why nobody actually, checks on them again. You said you were fine. You know what? I'm one of those people. You say you're fine. We're good to go. I might check up on you later just to make sure, but,
Overall,
lately.
You sure this person's 20?
And then the fucking blue check mark has to chime in, of course. Pretending that this is any kind of parallel. He wasn't offering to pay for college level money. Jesus fucking Christ. This boils my fucking ass. This boils me so fucking bad.
Again, it's a perpetual victimhood narrative, and that's what they want. They want to be a victim. There was nothing Cards Against Humanity could do except find a new way to make them a victim or a bigger victim. And even then they would have piled on. They made me a fucking victim, and now I get to be another fucking a bigger victim because now I get to say, look at what they did to me.
Hey, Chris, gotta ask you something. What does this remind you of from our previous experience with people?
It's fucking scary.
I know, like the correlation from all of this, especially what Spectre is saying.
Like,
Jesus fucking Christ!
Jesus
when we went through our problems, do you remember the very first thing that we did? The very first fucking thing that we did, we reached out. We said, "Hey, look, you're a little upset right now. That's totally cool, not a problem. Let's sit down like adults and talk about this over coffee or something." Nope. What did the fucking person do?
Oh, here was the response to that, by the way. Here was the response to, "Hey, let's take this off of the social media where people can misconstrue it. Let's sit down and have a face-to-face conversation." And you know what they fucking said? "Oh, they're pulling the old, let's talk about this in person bullshit, blah, 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 blah." Like, what? When did talking to someone face-to-face become a problem?
Yeah.
They can't get those ass pats. They can't get those likes on Twitter. They do it in person. They can't do that.
Like, I'll say this right fucking now to anybody out there. If you want to talk to me in person and you have a fucking problem with me, or like you want to talk to me, period, don't talk to me on social media. Talk to me face to face and fucking record it. I don't care. Record what I fucking say. I'm out here on YouTube saying exactly my fucking opinion on shit. And I don't have anything to fucking hide.
And we always had the door open for anyone who had a fucking problem with anything, especially those individuals who've been taken advantage of or their kindness advantage of for over 5+ fucking years.
But you have people like this one here. You have people like this one here fucking talking about how this, that, and the other thing. And then she doesn't have the courtesy to show his fucking response.
Yeah.
Yep. And, that's the problem. That's the problem. Even if they recorded what you said, they would selectively edit it.
Exactly.
So that you look worse. And that's exactly what it would be. And unless you recorded it yourself and just released everything, they'd just be like, no, that's exactly what happened. Prove
All
me
right.
wrong.
I mean, like, kudos to Nick in that situation for fucking saying, let's talk about this real life, because she was looking for something to be written down to fucking go back to later.
And whoever was the response, whoever was
Well,
supposed to be
and on top of that,
email needs to
sorry,
release it and be like,
Exactly.
And then on top of that, she actually rejected his help because she said, "Oh, everything's fine, not a problem." Because at that point in time, it's not feeding her narrative; it's not feeding her actual likes. Now, the thing is that I have problems seeing all this on the computer here. How many likes is this thing getting?
She got 2.9K for her original, and she
Oh
got
my fucking Christ! Bad,
she
bad.
got
Twitter.
she got under 600 for the rest of them.
Oh my Christ! Like, look at all this. Look at all of this. So basically, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Go back down because there was something that I wanted to see really quick.
How far?
A little below that. I think right there. Somebody started talking about a little more. Right there. The fact that they used their Jewishness to silence you instead of actually trying to understand and listen was fucking bullshit and is absolutely infuriating. Man, that's pretty anti-Semitic. That's ooh.
Isn't so on the flip side, isn't someone using their African American heritage to silence someone being Jewish the same fucking thing?
Yep. So just to recap here, Employee X has a problem. Employee X wants the human resources people. Human resources people did their job, follow things up. Employee X decides to go online and air her disagreements on her fucking Twitter, which she got over 2.5K with likes. I would. Wow. What a fucking world we live in.
Oh, and we have another one here, Elaine Short. You know, word designer, formerly of Spotify and Grubhub, and apparently formerly Cards Against Humanity, was his first direct employee for Cards Against Humanity. Was told if I continued dating a person Max's friend had a crush on, I'd be fired. X to doubt.
Yep. Any receipts? Any receipts?
X to doubt. Did Max tell her this? Who told her this? Did the person that had the crush tell her this? Like,
I think the insinuation is Max told her.
Exactly.
That's, again, no receipts because why would there be any? It's one of those things like
So here we go. When Max confronted me about dating someone, again, not a coworker, who leased desk space in the same office, Max polled everyone in the office to see if they were comfortable with it.
What?
Why not file a fucking discrimination complaint at that very moment? You fucking go, not even to HR, you go to whatever city you have to, you go to whatever state, you fucking call them up right now and be like, hey, I'm going through this discrimination because of who I'm dating. Man, it's almost like, maybe there were options available to you at the time you decided not to take. But again, I'm kind of one of those people who has enough self-respect that I would defend myself, and I would do it in such a manner that you would be the fucking embarrassed one. You'd be writing it about me. Look at this asshole. He actually held me to a fucking standard.
Jesus Christ.
And she's saying that he brought her into a conference room and told her that everyone was not, like, nobody was comfortable with her dating someone who worked in the same building.
What?
Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Who the fuck matters in that?
Oh, why?
Wow, they don't feel. I would walk right out and start making out right there. It's like as a giant fuck you.
Like, honestly, at that point, just let him fire you and then fucking file a wrongful termination suit.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do.
I mean,
and then
unless you're in like a right to work state or something like that.
Yeah. And then she pulls on this like fucking, oh, I'm gonna tag this person and that person, and we're gonna, blah blah blah. Because obviously, she's definitely not in cahoots with these two that had ridiculous fucking stories. And then at the very end of her little fucking diatribe, tags on, oh, let's start addressing Cards Against Humanity's abusive behavior towards people of color and the LGBT and women.
What's a BIPOC?
I think I don't entirely sure know what that is rightly, because I've seen it happen. I've seen it popping up recently.
Wow.
This Pandora's box.
And then she tags in Vox, the Mary Sue,
Indigenous people of color.
Vox.
because apparently, once again, you need to be so black that not only are you a person of color, but you have to make it very clear you're also black
and indigenous. Jesus Christ.
Wow. It's like I'm not sure if you've seen this game that's coming out, New World.
I have not yet.
It's getting some choice reviews because some choice reviews from Kotaku and Polygon. Because let's see if I can find it. World reviews. Let's see.
Oh, this guy's so fucking brave. So amazingly brave.
Here you go. I'm going to post this over in the side chat.
Let's pull that up.
You got it. Cool.
I mean, one question I want to ask people. How fucking relevant is Cards Against Humanity in 2020?
I mean, it's
seriously.
Still fun.
It is still fun, but how talked about is it? It's not a fucking water cooler conversation anymore.
No, that aspect could have died out a while ago. A lot of board games and card games don't the same.
Just look at the title. Is really all you need to see.
I mean, it looks really cool. Amazon's questionable MMO colonize the new world. It looks like an amazing game. Jesus Christ, Polygon, leave it alone.
It looks amazing. It actually looks really good. Actually, I was talking to Nick about it, not last week, but the week before. I'm like, hey, Nick, are you going to be getting this? He's like, I don't know. I've never even heard of it. And he goes over to Steam, looks at it. He's like, this game is made for me. Because the first gift is a guy with a giant two-handed hammer who smacks the freaking ground and kills two people. He's like, this is me. I'm so excited about it. I'm like, yes.
Jesus Christ.
But it's like Polygon comes out like that. Oh, it's a colonization controversy. It's not even
all right, I'm checking this out right now.
I have to reshare this screen 1 second. This guy is something fucking else. Who the fuck is Andy McMillan, by the way?
Is he that Scottish guy? I think there's some Scottish guy who's like, I'm not going to say what he is, but anyways, he's one of those woke individuals who likes to talk about how woke he is, and
no kidding, like not even like,
opposite of Count Dankula.
Not even like, so this guy without any rhyme or reason just starts up, okay, fuck it, here it goes. Like, Andy and I spoke to Max a lot after the bad thing allegations were published. And we all told him the ways he responded was inappropriate. Oh, he didn't listen to our advice, so
boy, doesn't that sound familiar?
Fucking Christ.
Yeah. It's almost like there might be
an agenda.
We told him what he needed to say. We told him what he needed to say to do and make it right. He said he would, but he didn't. Wow. These people are fucking despicable.
Oh man, he told us one thing and then did the exact opposite. Oh man, it's almost like he gave us a taste of our own fucking medicine. Oh no.
My goodness gracious. How can that be?
Kind of a monster.
The last time we spoke to him on the phone, he threatened to kill himself. This was a few weeks after my partner committed suicide, and that's when I knew I was done. I never wanted to speak to him again. Making it about yourself, not realizing how some of these allegations can seriously cripple a person. Making it about yourself because my partner committed suicide, so obviously that's why he mentioned it. Jesus fucking Christ. Because we were one of the few places that continued to bear repercussions after everyone else was happy to forget. What the fuck are you talking about? A lot of people who he's abused and hurt have reached out to me over the past few years.
It's like,
what is wrong with these fucking people?
It's the same fucking story. Just change the names.
Isn't
it's
it?
The same fucking story.
Fucking playbook much? Jesus Christ.
well,
I've
that's
had
all they
long
have to
phone
do is
calls.
they just bring up this thing that tugs at the heartstrings and they go from there. And that's exactly what it is. They just tug at the heartstrings. It doesn't matter if it's not true. None of that. It's, we want to play on your heartstrings. We want to get you to feel bad for us, because if you feel bad for us, you're not going to fight us for it. You're not going to fight us over it. And then we can say whatever we want about the other person. That's exactly, again, Vic Mignogna. That's what happened with Johnny Depp. That's what happened, pretty much every one of these people who's accused of it. There's this kid that from Texas. He was accused of violating Title IX, which is like, sexual harassment, stuff like that in college. And it was done by this gay kid who claimed that he had been, writing anti-gay statements on a computer for him to see. Turns out the gay kid was flirting with him. He was told, please stop it. And realizing that he had violated Title IX by not stopping, he made up the accusations. Kid ends up killing himself. Nobody fought it because they didn't want to go against this narrative. They didn't want to seem like the bad guy. And that's what they bank on, is people not wanting to seem like a bad guy. Sometimes you need to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
In their world, because you're the bad guy no matter what. No matter what, you are the bad guy. Why not take on the role with pride? If you're accused of something, then you know what?
It all depends on what you're doing and what position you're in. If you're not in a position where you're looking after kids or in a delicate business position, then you have to play the good guy role or not fucking say anything. Because once you step over that line and it's online, you're fucked. Your career is over. You're no longer a source of income. You're so screwed some ways from Sunday. And sometimes you fucking can't. And that's just a difficult part with some of this stupid shit.
But we're seeing that anyways. Even if
it depends on the situation and what's going on overall, because you can't throw a complete blanket over it. Because the thing is that, let's just say Max decides to go off both barrels and both people say, hey, you guys being a bunch of fuckers, fuck you. And you're fucking fired online on Twitter. Do you have any idea how much heat that Max would get immediately?
This is what I mean. It's like this idiot here, like someone who's literally not in the fucking situation whatsoever. Goes on to say that he's helped a few of them find new jobs because they were scared of what would happen if they found out they wanted to leave. Like, how many fucking people out there in the world have had a job that they fucking can't stand, and they find a new job? Are they terrified that their fucking boss is going to do something terrible to them? What the fuck is their boss going to do? Fire them?
And what the both of you people have been saying, where are the fucking receipts from all of this? How do we know that this fucking melonhead is actually telling the truth or not? How do we know this person is stepping up saying, well, I've been in direct contact? Great. Emails, please. No giant black boxes anywhere. Post your fucking receipts. Post. Welcome to high school. Math class. Please show your work. Thank you. You do not do that.
Again,
you get an F.
When you start seeing this stuff, it's time to start being the bad guy. Yeah. When the accusation is made against you, it doesn't matter. Your reputation is already going to get hit by the SJWs. It's already going to get hit by the woke crowd. They've already got people there lined up to report you to. they're ready to go. You go scorched earth back, because as we've seen time and time again, trying to be nice to these people does not work. They don't want you to be nice. There is nothing you can do at that point to make them feel better about themselves. They want those ass pats from Twitter. They want people to say, you're a good person, because the only validation they get isn't from themselves. It isn't from their families. Yeah. It's from every swinging dick out there who sees what they're saying and goes, you are a victim. You are a good person. It's time to start going scorched earth. If it came out, somebody said that about me, I can tell you it wouldn't matter who I was or what I was doing. If it's not violating the law, we're going to play stupid games. You're going to win stupid prizes, because I'm not going to go quietly into the night. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to fight fire with fire. That's just my personality. That's how I am.
A very good friend told me a while ago that basically the internet is still new and fresh, and people trying to figure out how to conquer and tackle situations like this. As example, he can't hire a PR firm to go through stuff like this, because it's no longer, we're going to place a full ad in this particular newspaper or go on several radio shows and combat this stuff. The thing is that for stuff like this, you need a full plan. You need to make sure that all the bases are taken care of, and you need to have the right people in the right positions to move forward with type of stuff. That's what you really need. And depending on the delicate situation that the other individual's in, that also dictates what happens moving forward as well. Because the last thing you want to have happen is the loss of sponsorship, the loss of partnership, the loss of revenue, because then it becomes a lawsuit. And we both know that most of these fucking people have nothing to sue for. Like nothing.
And again, the playbook is that you sit there and you take it. You don't fight them. You come out and go, mea culpa, mea maxima fucking culpa. I'm so sorry I did this and made you feel victimized. Again, look at Vic Mignogna. He didn't play by the playbook, and all of a sudden they were caught off guard. So now they're making up all this shit. They're calling in people who are habitual liars to defend them from from people investigating. They're looking, that's the playbook. The playbook is you sit there, you roll over, and you fucking die. You're not supposed to fight back. And so when Johnny Depp fought back, all of a sudden Amber Heard and all her supporters were like, oh God, it's not going the way it's supposed to. Yep. That's the problem with Me Too as it is. Me Too was a terrific idea. It went after someone like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, actual predators, people who actually did this. And let's make this very clear. The people who stayed silent on it because my job, my career, you are part of the problem as much as you come out now and go, I support the victims. You didn't at the time, but now it looks good for PR reasons. You're still part of the problem because you've proven you will shut the hell up when it's convenient for your career. It's why I don't trust any of these people coming out to support Monica and saying this, Monica, Jamie saying this was known about for years and we stayed silent. Well, guess who's part of the problem? It's not Vic, it's you, because if you knew about this for a decade, then you stayed silent.
Oh, stay silent all the way up until December of that year.
And then they try and do this thing where they go, well, they just have so much clout within the business. No, what it is you made it up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened with Vic, as we see time and time again, as stuff gets out there, as people start digging into what's going on. This date that you said in your affidavit, Jonatello, you were in Japan. You couldn't have been there for that. And here's how we find out from your Twitter account that we have archived. You can't make up an archive, can you? You can't fake that. You have all this stuff that happens, and then you fight back, and they don't know how to respond. So they become even more toxic. They make up even more bull crap in order to really shut you up. And so you fight back harder, and they don't know how to do it because they have never had to deal with actual people fighting against it. They've never had to deal with an actual conflict because they've been able to beat somebody into submission by going, I got all these eyes on us now. Do you really want to look worse? Well, guess what? I already look like a piece of shit. Nothing to lose now. Let's go full scorched earth. Let's start digging up everything. Let's start going over everything you've done. Let's start looking at how much of a piece of absolute fucking shit you are. Let's put you on blast. Let's turn it around, because the minute you fucking do that, the minute you turn it around on them and make it very clear to the world that this person is a liar, this person is a piece of shit, this person has a prior history of doing all this stuff, they suddenly start shutting the fuck up because they don't want more stuff to come out. As much as I say I hate doxing, I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
I do see the reason that some people engage in it. I can see both sides of why they do it. And guess what? You bring it on yourself 9 times out of 10 when you do it. You bring it on yourself. You know, I've always said, because of some of the stuff I've said and some of the stuff I've done, if somebody actually doxes me on Kiwi Farms, guess what? I can't get mad at anybody but myself. I can't. You know, I'm not going to be an Ethan Ralph who loves the site until he gets doxed, and then all of a sudden, no, it's absolutely fucking terrible. I'm not going to pull a Tug or an Ethan Van Sciver. You know, that's how I am. I'm still going to like the site. What do you fucking do? Fight back against these people, because they can't take that. It drives them crazy when you fight back, because you're not supposed to do that. They have a well-established playbook in their heads, and they think that if they do the same thing over and over again. In the military, we say that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. And more to the point, what worked in the past against a specific person is not guaranteed to work against the next person. You have to constantly evolve your tactics and strategies against a new opponent. That's why what we did in Japan did not necessarily work in Germany. It's why what we did in the Persian Gulf War did not necessarily work in Iraq in 2003. What the Soviets did in Afghanistan in the 70s and 80s would not have worked in Afghanistan in 2001. We still did a lot of it, and hey, look at that. The exact same stuff happened. They cannot evolve with the times. They cannot improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's how you beat them. Because the minute you throw a wrench in their plan, what do? They
just make shit up.
What to do.
They just make shit up. I was looking at down the rabbit hole of where this all fucking started, and it started with this chick's post on June 6th. This chick got picked up by Sarkeesian, and that's when it blew up into something bigger, because she was signal flaring towards that. And here's Andy McMillan chiming in a day after that. Listen to Mags. Listen and believe. Note there are many more who can't speak up. Bullshit. There are listen to me. I talk to hundreds of people. I know everybody now. Now you're approved to listen to people that are talking now. And if you're staying silent, fuck you too. You just said that there are people that can't speak, and now you're telling them fuck you. In one tweet, you contradict yourself. And if anybody out there thinks that, being woke and being part of them, absolutely not. Look at this. He's fucking quoting it right here. He's like, everyone who works there seems fine with him. He must be able to appease them, right? He's some kind of asshole, but he hasn't hurt me. He supports independent artists. He's a feminist. Look at all the good he's done. He can't be a bad person. You can be on the woke side.
Hold on. He's a feminist?
He's a feminist.
Okay, he definitely raped somebody there.
You can be on their side. You can wear their fucking clothing. You can fly their fucking flag, but they will turn on you in a fucking second. Every single fucking time. Every single time.
And that's what gets them. They think, oh, I'm an ally. I'm good. You are only an ally up until the point that they can use you to further their agenda, and they will turn on you. If you're a white guy, if you're a white person dealing with BLM right now, right? You will be useful to them up until the point that they can find something and go, hey, you look like a piece of shit here. I can further Black Lives Matter by throwing you under the bus, because that's what happens. If you're a male feminist, you are an ally to them up until the point they can say, this person.
Until it's no longer convenient.
Who was that guy? Oh God, I can't remember what his name was. He did a podcast, like a feminist podcast, and then the feminists threw him under the bus and said, "Oh no, he was sexually harassing." And let me like, oh,
Well, while you're pulling that up, Sarah Johnson here actually fucking gets it. Like, props to Sarah Johnson. If you're watching this, you probably aren't, never will. No, I'm not going to listen to Mags. No, I'm not going to listen to Mags for simply saying, quote unquote, he is a bad person with no info whatsoever. Just taking someone's word for it, ruining another person's life is fucking ridiculous. Amen. Jesus Christ. By the sound of it, it was just an awkward teenager makeout. Wow. I'm not going to listen to some disgruntled employee that's out for blood because Max thought her tone was off and didn't agree with her opinion on a PR event. Amen. Fuck cancel culture and nothing to it, and fuck anybody supporting it. If you're going to drag someone, then do it for actual problematic behavior, not vague Slack messages with rumors without backing it up. Fucking give this person, I say person because I don't know, I'm not going to assume their gender.
It's all right. You're doing good.
Give this person a fucking gold medal of the internet because they deserve it.
There you go. Today, this individual won the internets. Yay!
I can't remember what this guy's name was.
You come across it sooner or later.
Eventually, I'm going to be like trying to go to sleep tonight. It's going to be like him.
There it is. Sending off from an email. I found the person.
Like I'm so.
Was it Femme Cleaners?
We'll come sooner or later.
Poor face.
Oh, what's this?
Poor Simon J. He has to wash his face.
Jamie Kilstein.
There it is.
That he was independent progressive podcast Citizen Radio has dropped co-founder and co-host Jamie Kilstein after numerous women alleged the performer made inappropriate sexual advances or was emotionally abusive to them. He was accused of sexual harassment and just being a piece of shit. Who's surprised, right? Like this. There was like another one. Who's the guy who killed his feminist like podcast co-host? I can't remember his name. He was Russian or something. He was Russian. He like killed her, and it was like
that explains it.
You do not like the podcast. We're not getting the views and listen to this. It's your fault, comrade. What? Wow.
It's so.
This is supposed to be our light show, right? This is supposed to be the show where we sit down and have some fun and play some games online and shit.
I'm blaming the fucking audience because no one's joining my goddamn cards game. Like leaving Spectre and me out to dry here. So I'm blaming the audience on this.
There you go. There you go.
It's all your fault for it's been like 2 whole hours and no one's even donated to me.
No one's bought a t-shirt or a fucking sticker.
No
like
one's
on the
donated.
Patreon.
Why am I doing this? Am I doing this for free? What am I doing this for?
I'm doing this for free. Oh, sorry.
Exactly.
This is about you.
Every time though, it's like these people do stuff like this, and then it blows up in their face. Like
it's so crazy.
You want to salvage your reputation at the end of the day. The only way to do it is to fight back. Yep. In the short term, you might lose some face. You might, but it's better to do it now because when these people are lying, they can't keep their story straight at all.
And isn't it the best part?
Story straight.
My honest opinion, I think that's the best part. When they start changing the story or trying to flip it to a different degree, that's when things get really, really fun. Because basically, if you're taking the science approach, you could circle that going, not continuity. Here you go. And the thing is,
and that's what really gets them. Again, the Vic Mignogna situation. All these people who are coming out and saying Vic did it to me. Really? When? And then they give some vague date. Well, sometime in again, Jonatello saying that she was there when they found Vic, with underage girls in his room. in 2007. And then somebody went to her Twitter, found the 2007 post where that weekend she was posting, I finally just got to Japan. Here's a picture of my passport stamped in Japan. It's like,
Yeah.
And I love these like fucking random idiots on the internet adding Verge. How are you going to write about this? How about holding game companies accountable when you, as a news outlet, aren't covering Cards Against Humanity is over? Pointing out a fucking article that came out April 2nd, copying a screenshot from June 5th when the fucking story came out June 6th. Fuck off, random idiot.
and these are the same people, by the way, that told us that, journalists were not in, private message groups to get their story straight, right?
Right.
Like in the wake of Gamergate and whatnot, that those chat rooms were found out. And then these same people would tell us, no, it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. And then all of a sudden now they're like, but why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you using the chat room we said you're totally not part of? Why aren't you doing this? What's going on? They cannot keep their story straight at the end of the day.
Nope.
That's what pisses them off, because when you start scrutinizing, they keep going a little bit because they think they can pull one over you. They can pull the wool over your eyes. When they realize they can't, it's, well, you're the problem because you looked into it. Example, Preston Poulter. His little thing. He says, oh yeah, I contacted the police, yada, yada, yada. He gives a case number to Nick Rekieta. Nick provides the case number to everybody. I call the Dallas Police Department where he lives. I called the Evesham Marlton Police Department where Ethan Van Sciver lives. Both of them said they didn't exist. The case number is not legitimate. It's not theirs. So I posted on Kiwi Farms. What's Preston's response? Look at these guys so worried about it, looking into my story and finding out it's false. Oh man, they're so worried. It's like, I think the only one who's worried is the guy who's posting about how people looked into his story and found out it's bullshit. And now he's very upset over that.
Speaking of looking into stories and pointing out bullshit, Sarah Johnson, which I'm pretty sure at this point is somebody else's account because it's 0 following, 16 followers. But
those are the best accounts, aren't
the best
they?
kind. But here we are posting facts, so slightly more acceptable than just random. But she points out to the article where he's being accused of being a rapist. It's a Gawker article. It's a big shocker. He responds saying they just made out as teens and ended it a few days later and never had sex. He actually replied to it. Then the person accusing him responds, this time mentioning sexual assault, again without any info, on truth.org, I guess. I don't know what the hell that is.
I like how she archived it.
Yeah, she archived it.
That's a big thing. She archived it. It's not like they can go, oh, it's fake. It's fake news. No.
Oh, we deleted it and changed it. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And then she says, sorry, what are you trying to do this to drag him in for random accusations with the other? Max is innocent until proven guilty and has a right to stand on ground if he believes the accusations are false. Reading both, it seems that the teens awkwardly made out. One wasn't into it. Other didn't realize it. This is not rape. It diminishes the real survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Jesus.
This is what pisses me off the most about Monica Rial and Jamie Markey.
These deserve likes.
Diminish actual rape and sexual assault survivors by doing this shit.
Yeah.
Because, as much as they like to say, I didn't file a police report because nobody would believe me. It perpetuates this fear. It perpetuates a fear because actual victims hear this and they go, I guess I shouldn't report it. The truth of the matter is that every complaint is investigated. Everyone without exception. Sure, you get the Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby, you can get away with it. But generally speaking, they look into this, they investigate. And if there's evidence, guess what? That motherfucker's going to jail. Yep. So when you say constantly, I didn't file a police report, because it's always the same people, right? Who stay silent for 10 years, then say it happened to me. and I just didn't file a police report because who would believe me?
Believe me. Yep.
People who say 1 in 5 college-age women will suffer sexual assault. Those are statistics, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
for war zones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in third world countries where third world warlords are fighting each other, where rape is a tool of war.
Yeah.
You're saying, you know, an African warlord commits the exact same amount as what's found on an American campus? No.
No.
I have family and friends who are legitimate sexual assault survivors. I don't know of one who didn't file a police report. Did the police find who did it? Not always. Not always. But they still investigated.
Yeah.
I know one of them is doing 10 years right now for it. And
Well, I can say, like, I can say that I am a sexual assault survivor, and I didn't file a police report because I didn't. Well, number one, I was drugged, so I didn't remember details, and number two, I just didn't want anything to do with the person anymore, and I didn't want to drag it out. I didn't want to see them again. I didn't want to potentially have to go through years and years and years of fucking shit. Just like, you know what? Cut my loss, and that's it. I'm never gonna have to deal with this person again. But for someone who has dealt with like either one time or multiple repeat, or you constantly have to see this person,
Especially, yeah.
and it's not even that, it's the people who file false claims.
Yes.
Right.
yes,
They really affect actual assault, assault survivors. Like, let me post this for you, and you can bring this up if you want.
I will. Yeah.
This woman claimed that she was raped several times over several years by different men. She's doing 10 years in jail for the false reports.
Yeah.
And just look at her and tell me, do you think she was raped?
Well, while that's pulling up this fucking bot account here, a collective that uses they them pronouns. We never liked Cards Against Humanity. Glad we don't play it. If you never played it, why do you have an opinion? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Fuck
glad
off.
this individual has made a stand not playing that game any further. Good for them. I'll
Jesus
buy their
Christ.
cards for them.
Let me
So
pull
glad
this
to know
up
that
here.
these people who never played it are no longer playing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, go
Rape
ahead, tell me,
claim.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
My eyes.
there are some people out there that probably would try, but was
No.
raped
Oh.
by 9 men and sexually assaulted in 4 encounters that 6. Oh, sexually assaulted by 6 in 4 encounters that spanned 3 years.
Oh, Jesus.
Serial liar. Wow, I know one of those. So there's a short story. Just as we're reading this ridiculousness, I actually knew somebody. I actually went to LARP with somebody who had a mental condition where they could not differentiate between reality and fiction. Like, it was legitimately they did not have the mental capacity to tell what is real and what's fake, and that extended to points where, like, if someone told them that you were raped this one time, that would be their reality, and they would think that. So I completely understand. I've met someone that is like this, who is a serial liar. Not necessarily their fault or their choice, but it is something that happens.
Right.
So she is jailed for 10 years. Oh, Jesus. After she was claiming she sexually assaulted by 6 men and raped by 9. She challenged her convictions for perjury and perverting the course of justice. Her bid was rejected by 3 judges at the Court of Appeal. Holy
geez.
shit. That's impressive. I mean,
Judges.
I can understand
Just
too.
keep reading it. It's
Good God. Argue that the trial judge should have given a jury directions about danger of assumptions, myths, and stereotypes. Okay. She argued that the loss of her anonymity, which led to intense media scrutiny, caused her to be prejudiced by Beale's defense.
imagine that the person who's lying, their information is revealed, so people look into it and find out she's lying. That's why she lost, not the fact that she's a liar who made up claims like I was raped by 9 men in multiple accounts in multiple circumstances. Yeah, no, it was the fact that we now knew her name and could see just from that picture she's a liar.
You know, I don't know if I respect her answer more or if I respect the our truth defense.
Hmm.
I spoke my truth. I believed it happened to me.
Yep. I believe it happened to me because if I don't, then I have to really be in jail.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The judge told the court that one of the men Beale accused of rape in 2010, Mahad Kasema, was tried twice and jailed for 7 years.
Yep.
His conviction was quashed by the Court of Appeals at 5 years after.
Yep.
Holy fuck. Okay, Law Twitter, please, if you're watching this, please tell me that judges don't make mistakes. Please tell me. This man spent 5 years in jail because he was wrongly convicted of fucking rape. You want to tell me that judges don't make mistakes? Jesus.
And he was only given
Christ.
£11,000 for the 5 years that he spent in jail. 11,000.
5 years of lost wages, and you only get 1/3 of what?
Hold on. Let me see something.
A minimum wage. Oh my fucking Lord. That boils my fucking...
Yep, Mahad Kasim. If you look up his name, some of the top ones are about how he raped her.
And that's going to be there forever.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's going to be there for fucking ever.
Now, to be fair, he's moved down on the on that, but yeah.
The idea that a woman could send an innocent man to prison for years solely so she could obtain comprehension begs belief.
Yep. And and you've got people like that, and it's to a feminist like Anita Sarkeesian or something. That's completely okay because they're fighting against the patriarchy and shit like that. And and then they have the audacity to sit there and go, but.
And you know what boils me the most is like people can now use that against him for literally anything. If they want to point back at his history, like, well, you were convicted of this, or you blah blah blah.
It was overturned and quashed. Doesn't really matter. Once again, this is why the Vic Mignogna thing. I've said this. I think Ty dropped the ball on some stuff. And he thinks they won in the court of public opinion. I agree. I think the court of public opinion, when people started looking into it, absolutely he started to win. But the problem is that if they don't win on appeal and the Texas Supreme Court does not take the case up and they, or it does and they don't win there, any win in public opinion that they have is mooted because yes, you can say all these questions were raised. The response from the defendants is, yeah, but the court didn't care.
Yeah.
You lost in court.
Yeah. Which is why it's important that because I've caught a lot of fucking heat for having Ron Toye on this show. Like a lot. From Vic supporters, not from the other side.
Right.
And I've caught a lot of fucking heat for having Ron Toye on the show and quote unquote platforming him. The point of having him on, the point of having him talk, and the point of everything else. And I don't care if Ron hears this or not, because I've told him straight up that I don't approve of what he said. I don't approve of the way that he approached things. And I've said to him multiple times, you should have gone through the fucking court system if you wanted the goddamn answers instead of filing this TCPA. I digress. The point of having him on and to have him talk is like everybody in the world has a fucking entire year and a half of shit to look up on Vic.
Right.
They know him inside and out more than most people do. Like you can go online, you can read up on him. You'll know more about Vic Mignogna than Ron Toye does just by reading up on him. The point is nobody knows anything about Monica or Ron or Jamie or Funimation. There's been a little bit that's come out about Funimation, about how they run things. But in terms of Monica and Ron, who are the main like catalysts of this entire situation, one can argue that Jamie Markey's a completely useless hunk like she is in real life because, she just joined for the sake of joining. But Ron Toye has come on and has given more admissions than what you would get out of a fucking settlement. He has said more, and he has admitted to more. Like, at one point, if people watch the interview, episode 9, if they watch episode 9, they watch the interview for all 4.5 hours. At one point, I ask him.
18.
At one point,
a lot of alcohol, but do it.
A lot of alcohol. At one point, I asked him straight up, because there was a number of times, and I don't know if people got far enough. I asked him if he knew what the definition of assault was, and he had no idea. He said assault is an opinion of the person, which is false, first of all. Second of all,
what?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He said assault is an opinion.
You didn't see our broadcast, Spectre. Shame. So many good
there's a lot of people.
Look, at some point the alcohol just takes over and I forget everything.
The brain like melts out the back of the head. I understand. I'm not.
I'm Irish. Okay, I've been drinking since before I could crawl, but I can't overcome physics. I can't overcome biology. At some point, the chemicals are like, we fucking win, and I just have to go, okay.
But he legitimately says that sexual assault is an opinion of the person at the time, and they can change that opinion when they want to.
No, that is literally the exact opposite of what it is.
Oh,
and so when I challenge him on a number of things, because I really pressed him on the assault allegations, and he was kind of wishy-washy about it, but he was backing up everything else. So I'm like, all right, well, if you say that you're 100% behind everything you said, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you came across wrong in what you were saying. Maybe you didn't mean to say it this way. Maybe you didn't mean to word it this way, but this is the way it came off. And he came out and said, no, I meant everything I said. And so I asked him straight up, I'm like, well, then why are you backing up everything else except this one statement? And he couldn't have an answer for it. So this is the stuff, like the reason why I'm having him on, and I talked to him, and I might have a third one. I might have a Toy Story 3. I don't know. But the reason that we have him on is because we're getting information and insight into his life and into Monica's life, because this is stuff we do not find out through the court case, because we don't get there. TCPA has stopped that. The only way for people to see beyond that is for external stuff like this. Do you think that Ron and Monica are going to go on Nick's show and say this stuff? No, they're not going to. They're not going to go on with Tug. They're not going to go on the Yellow Flash. They're not going to go on with Hero Hey and say this stuff. He's going to come on to a more neutral platform, and I say neutral in quotes because I am 100% on Vic's side, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Ron knows this, but I'm also a journalist first, and I can also be professional with him and not call him all sorts of names when he's on here, but give him a chance to show, to not make himself look good, not make himself look bad, make himself look like himself. Right. Let him come on and be who Ron Toye is on camera, not on tweets, not on emails, not on text messages, in front of a camera where he can't come back later and say, I didn't say that, I didn't mean this. You literally are on camera without anyone twisting your arm saying this stuff.
Right. And also at the same time, when we remind him several times, should you be saying this? Should you be saying this? And he goes, fuck it.
That's what I mean. He is bursting at the seams because he's the type of person that needs to say something about it. He needs to say something about it. He has to talk about it, and he's being stripped away of every way to talk about it.
He went on YouTube replies, for goodness sakes. Like, here comes the funny part. And in the last 13 years, me being on this fucking platform, I've been always told and always ruled of thumb, don't read the comments. Don't go by the comments. Just leave them alone. Within the last 13 years, Ron Toye has completely flipped that inside and backwards. Everyone's looking through the actual comments to see if there's Ron Toye reactions to that or not. And also on top of that, speaking of Mr. Toye, he's a very interesting individual, especially his first thought of his dad, who's his hero, who he blocked on Facebook. And the funny thing is, the reason I'm not coming out saying the whole thing is, Spectre, you have to see this to really understand where this guy is coming
Right.
from. It's totally astronomical. There are things that he said that he should not be sharing, but he is. And plus, on top of that, through the Canuckleheads show here, we're giving him the professional quorum to go through all of this.
And Spectre had something to say.
Yeah, sorry, man.
I was just going to say, like, I have no problems with you platforming Rontoya. You know, me personally, platform whoever the hell you want. You know, if you're going to give him a fair shake, give him a fair shake. I have no problems with that. I would like to think that I would give Rontoya a fair shake because I am, you know, I'm one of those people. You provide evidence, I will follow the evidence. And that's one of the things I was telling Kick Vic was provide me with evidence, because even though I am on Vic Mignogna's side right now, you provide actual evidence, provide police reports, provide me with something. That's
a doctor's
all
report.
I want. I want a doctor's report, a police report. I just want something that I can look at and go, holy shit, this guy legitimately is a sexual predator. You do that, I will, you know, I'll be grabbing a pitchfork. Nick Rekieta would have been grabbing a pitchfork and going after him.
Yeah.
You know, as much as people like to point towards, well, all this stuff that Tug is doing, Nick hasn't, you know, or EVS is doing, Nick hasn't said anything about that, is far and away nowhere near this guy is a legitimate rapist. There is just in the way guys normally are wired. We want to protect women. It's a natural thing. It's hundreds of years of chivalry, if you want to call it that. But we have this natural need, I guess you could say, to protect women. And you see this with many, many guys who a female family member is assaulted. And it's something primordial that just awakens in a guy, and you just respond. You friggin' respond to it because that's just how we're wired. That's how we are, for the most part, raised. Even Nick, as much of a friend as he could be, would immediately turn on Vic and say, you are a piece of garbage. And they don't seem to get that. So the only things they could do is, my story is evidence enough. You should believe me. No, it's not evidence enough. Because if I have to take your evidence, your word, based only on this story, then when he comes out and says it didn't happen, here's what really happened, then I have to believe him as well. Because if I'm going to, you know, we don't put the onus on the defendant to disprove something happened. You can't prove a negative. That's why the whole atheism debate, Christians like to say to atheists, prove God doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, you can't prove it.
Yeah.
There's no evidence. You know, so it's the exact same way with these accusations. Vic has to prove that it didn't happen. No, you're making the accusation, right? I'll give you a great example. My biggest fuck up over the past 6 months. Cress, you know about it. I'm not going to go into it. I had to prove that it happened. We didn't say to this guy, prove it didn't happen. I had to prove it happened.
Yeah.
And my biggest fuck up of the entire thing was I made it sound like I had validated it happened, you know, and publicly was saying that, even though also publicly I was saying I hadn't validated it, and privately I was saying I hadn't validated it. I apologized to this guy for how I provided it, for how I was saying it. Not that I put it out there, you know.
Exactly.
According to this guy, just, you know, an accusation is newsworthy and should be reported on. I kind of gave him a little bit of his, you know, his mentality. Was it right? No, we can go into that at some other point. But the onus was on me to prove that it was this guy and that this happened. I couldn't turn around and say, no, he has to prove it didn't. You have to listen and believe me. And you go on Kiwi Farms, when something is said, Prove it.
Yeah.
Show receipts. Geek Thulu saying stuff like, he has this thing where last year with an underage tranny was saying, found out that they were trans and was making edgy jokes. Do I believe, by the way, that Geek Thulu was a pedophile? No. And when I put this out there, I said, I know it's a joke, but it's no less creepy because the guy is 41 years old and he's talking to a 16-year-old like this. At what point, in what realm is that not fucking creepy? But I had to show what was going on. He says, I wasn't talking to this person after I found out they were underage. I then provided screenshots of him saying to this person, when you get to be 18 and you peg me, you can't have a veiny or discolored penis. It has to be normal. When they said this didn't happen, Andy Worski comes out and goes, it's photoshopped. This didn't happen. My response was to create a video of the entire conversation that I still use when he tries to say I take it out of context. And I put it up and said, you be the judge. The onus is on the person making the accusation to actually provide evidence. You don't get to pawn that off onto the other side because you can't provide it. Not
Exactly.
that hard.
No.
If you're going to make an accusation, have some evidence. If you can't provide, and look, I am 100%. I can accept that I screw up. I'm human. I screw up. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am perfect, but the difference here is that when I screw up, doesn't matter if it's small or large, my response is to apologize for the screw up and try to do better. I think I do that. And not to compare me to other people, but you look at people like this guy, this individual who, I screwed up with. He's accusing people of crimes. And publicly, he's doing entire videos about how there's a doxing server and these people are committing crimes, federal crimes. And everybody's like, well, that's not how it works. Here's evidence to support that you're full of crap.
Yeah.
And he doesn't apologize for it. He doesn't say, I was wrong here. I'm sorry. He just sits there and doubles down instead, or he deflects from it. When you screw up, you're supposed to apologize. You take ownership and you go from there. What I did for this guy, there's no excuse for how I provided it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to accept that. I do. When you look at somebody like Monica Rial or whatnot, they're not going to take ownership for lying or any of that.
No.
Look at Ron Toye, his interviews with you guys. Does he take ownership of his screw-ups? No. He always has an excuse ready as to why what he did, well, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, or it's not as bad as what this other person did. And that's the problem right now, is that they say something like this, they do something like this, and at the end of the day, they get called out, they get proven to be a liar. And instead of saying, you know what, I got played, or you know what, I screwed up, they just double down. They don't apologize. They don't say, I screwed up. They just say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong for holding me accountable.
Yeah. And that's one big thing that it's permeating through the internet is there is no accountability. It's always like, oh, well, this other person made me do this, and that's why I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to explain. It's all excuses. It's all excuses. And in terms of Ron's stuff, I fully believe at this point that he 100% believes that he's telling the truth. Whether the information that he has is correct or not, that's still questionable.
And he's thinking he's doing the right thing.
Well, he thinks he's doing the right thing. But I think that he believes that what he is saying and what information he has is the truth, and he doesn't believe that he's lying. Now, do I think that the people that are feeding him information are lying? Absolutely. There is a process that is out there to determine this, but unfortunately, everyone's being robbed of it as things stand currently. But in terms of everything else, it's like, okay, well, now Ron has come out and said that he does not think that Vic was a rapist. He does not think that Vic did X, Y, or Z. It was all about our truth, my truth, her truth. And so it's like now you have on record, on tape, that you can clip and show to people. These people made up stories. They shared their opinion, which resulted in him losing jobs. And I don't know what more you'd want from that.
And that's the thing is, you do something like this, and it has a massive negative impact on someone. Yeah. And then it comes out later that you lied about it. Look, I think Ron is a very insecure individual. He's in his 30s, right? He's in his late 30s.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
He's had 2 failed marriages. He's been in the court system for family court. He's had to go through all this stuff, right? Anger management and whatnot. He has a temper. Hey, I have a temper. We all have a fucking temper. I'm not sure if you knew this. It's how you deal with the anger and whatnot. But
yeah,
this is a guy who I think he wants to be loved. He wants to be accepted. And I used to be like that. In high school, I was that kid who was made fun of for everything. Not sure if you knew this, but I'm an ugly son of a bitch. And the dark side of the moon.
Stop.
The dark side of the moon has less craters than my face does.
Stop.
I was made fun of constantly for it. My self-esteem growing up was absolute garbage. It was to the point that my uncle, for 1 month every summer when I was 16, would bring me down to NAB Little Creek, which is where some of the seals are located, because he was a SEAL. And I would be with him, and it really brought my self-esteem up for those 4 years. And I went into the military partially to prove to myself that I could be something more. And that really focused me and helped bring my self-esteem up. And after all of that, I came out. I was a changed person. I got off of active duty. My friends who I'd known since high school would say, you're different now than you were 8 years ago, or what, And that was like a big thing. And now it's not so much that I look for validation from other people. One of the things I had to learn the hard way is if you're not happy with yourself, if you're not content with yourself, you will never be happy, even if everybody else in the world likes you. You're never going to be.
Very
to
true.
give you an idea, I didn't play any sports. I was in the marching band. I was taking college courses while in high school. I had a college degree not long after graduating high school. I was the quintessential nerd. And I was constantly picked on because I was always on my computer having fun. I was, I kind of divorced myself from reality. And that was my way of coping. And it took a long time for me to get over that. But at the end of it all, I did. I'm not saying that I've changed too much. I still spend way too much time on the computer. I am still, but in terms of self-worth, I can make jokes about myself, which was something I could never do before the military. I built up my own self-esteem, and now I make jokes constantly about how I look, about, how much of a friggin' idiot I can be. I poke fun at myself. I say something stupid. It becomes a meme, and I accept it. That's kind of how you grow. Mm-hmm. So if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? And people don't seem to get that. So you go on Kiwi Farms, you look at any of these people who are lol cows or whatever you want to call them, and they always respond from a place of immediate defense. It's an ego. They have to protect the ego. I understand it. I used to be like that. Now it's like, I have a fucked up hairline, right? But I've had this hairline since I was 18. Okay.
So I'm hoping you're used to it by now. Goodness.
Oh God, yeah. there's a picture that some of these people like to use about me, and
Yeah.
let me see if I can.
I honestly think it's like an Irish thing because I have like the exact same hairline. Like I think it's just
It's possible. I mean, my family, we either go gray really early or we lose our hair. Thank fucking God I have gray hair. I had gray hair at 25. Okay. It's like, thank God. But
Yes.
like there's this picture that people like to use of me, like to make a point. It's like, I think it's in the Andy Worski. There it is. Andy Worski thread. This is I'm going to screen share it, right? I'm going to
sure.
share the screen. This is the picture they like to use of me. This is the picture they use of me. All right. So
How old were you in this?
This is like 5 years ago. So 28-ish.
All
Right. So they like to use that against me. My response was, I prefer to use this one because I look even fucking worse, you goddamn retards. There are worse pictures of me to use if you really want to stick to me. By the way, this was you could probably see it on the right side of the screen. I was actually in the middle of a week and a half stay because I had a jaw infection that literally ballooned overnight. Like, I look like absolute garbage here. I haven't shaved my hair. I need a haircut. I look like I am legitimately balding in this. And it's like, there are a lot of fucking pictures you could use that make me look worse. And you're taking one of the least terrible pictures and you're putting it out there. I provided this picture. Like, there's like a server that uses a picture of me for their icon because they think it gets under my skin. I talked to DA Talks. I'm like, Dean, tell them to use this picture of me. It's worse. It's like, you are not going to get under my skin by saying I'm ugly. Yeah. I know I'm ugly. I'm not that divorced from reality.
Oh, right? Stop it. You're not ugly. Come on here.
That's how it works.
That's so true.
People don't seem to get that, and they take you laughing about it. Like, these guys love to say, "Oh, he's so upset about it. He's so upset about things we're saying," and I'm literally sitting here going, "You guys are really not good at this. You're hearts, people, but it's cute. It's almost like this beaten puppy that you just he's limp, he's retarded. You still love him. But, you can't bring yourself to hate it. And I'm the exact same way with these guys. That's how you have to do it. And it's like, they're doing it on the internet and think you should take it super seriously. It's like, I'm never doing it to you. I don't care. Yeah. That's why like the one thing that they go with is you look like an absolute garbage can of a human being. It's like, I thank you for telling me something that I have known for 34 fucking years. I am so happy that you have opened my eyes to the reality of the situation.
Well, speaking of like making fun of people, I think this is a perfect time to shill a little bit here. So
another shilling commence.
Open up our Teespring here. We have our official Canuckleheads merchandise here. We have our t-shirts, we have our blankets, we have our stickers. We newly released Major League 4 course. This came out from the Ron Toy interview, by the way. Ron Toy's really, really amazing analogy that Ty's legal strategy was akin to someone bringing a fork and a horse to a baseball game. So
we got the major.
So we have the Major League 4 course. Now you can get your own mug. It comes in this beautiful mug. This really good quality here on the back of it. Major 4 course league with the television remote.
Are you sure he was talking about a fork and a horse?
Yes. Unequivocally, yes.
At at a baseball game, which is a
No.
full-course meal.
It might have been a 4, but no.
We have this wonderful special edition wife beater here with the Major League 4 course on the front and the remote on the back. So just to remind everybody, remember who's in charge there. So these are available on the official Canuckleheads. The link is in the description below. 10% off to our Patreons as well. Link to the Patreon is down there. So yeah, so there's all that fun stuff. So
We got stickers.
we do have stickers. Yeah.
Sticker.
Actually, I just got the sticker, the Canucklehead sticker.
Show it off. Oh, it's so shiny.
Sexy ass sticker.
It's very sexy.
It's worth the $4 IMO. And it's like $3, I think, in like $3.50 US or something like that. It's super cheap anyway. But
Yeah, I don't know what the conversion rate is for Canadian and then real money.
4-course
I
wife
will
beater.
never
I'm dead.
I will never take Canadian money seriously. You call it the fucking loony. I will never take you seriously.
Wait a second. Whoa. Don't forget the toonie. Don't be discriminatory.
It doesn't exist. It's like Wyoming. It doesn't exist.
So yes, that's all available for you. It ships relatively quickly with the COVID-19 stuff. It's still, but I know at least one of these. This T-shirt here comes out of Compton. Funny enough,
Straight out of there.
This one right here comes out of Compton. I ordered a couple of those, and it shipped from Compton, California. So I'm just like, all right, well there you go. It's OG. But yeah, but we've been going almost 3 hours, so I guess this is probably a good point to kind of wrap things up on and give some final thoughts. So, Spectre, final thoughts. Everything we've been talking about today.
I don't do thinking. That's really,
That's a good final thought. That's a good
really
one.
not what Greens are known for.
All right, well, Mr. Hop.
Well, this has been an absolutely fantastic broadcast once again. Spectre, it's finally great to meet you in person. Thank our at least through the video intertubes here.
Yes.
And I think you do fantastic work. What's your channel, Spectre?
Yeah, pitch your channel.
Spectre 06 Gaming. That is where I do when I game and stream it. That's where I do it. And then there's the Spectre Report, whereas I handle other stuff, non-gaming related, generally like YouTube drama or politics and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, if you send me those links, I'll be happy to put them in the description once we're updated on the show here. So,
and
yeah.
that the Spectre Report is where you can find my series on the Kitchener Comic-Con.
Oh yes.
Well, there was that
That was a
3-part
very good
series with an additional bonus at the end.
Yeah.
That was a very good series. Yeah, bonus round with Jennifer Malett. We're gonna get struck down for that now.
Sure.
we mentioned her name. Oh no.
she who would not be named. But yeah, so again, like I thought it was a great discussion today. I know we got talking a little bit of this and that and the other thing, and my goodness, there's so much to this Cards Against Humanity thing. Like I think I've overturned a rock, found a whole like ant's nest. I honestly wish that we had a bigger channel to cover this because like Max deserves a little bit of something here. Probably not as much because he's a self-declared feminist, but he deserves a little bit of coverage.
Everybody's a self-declared feminist until the rape accusations start.
Exactly, it's so true. But yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna like at least share this story a little bit more and see if other people will be willing to talk about it and pick it up, and because this is stuff that's ridiculous. I mean, like. In her very first post, that's a Teresa Stewart person here says, like she's riding on the coattails of Second City is Over Party, another hashtag to start slagging on Cards Against Humanity. So really can't be that big, but yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you so much, Spectre, for joining us. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Be happy to have you back anytime that you want to come on. So that is it for the Canuckleheads. You know, as we say here, keep your stick on the ice and. That is all for now. Bye-bye.
Be kind to each other.